really kawari kha kha na really holding ida moina smile no close to yellow kind haram molest to bagi ATM book on da
ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯈꯪꯍꯧꯗꯅ ꯊꯣꯛꯂꯛꯈꯤꯕ 2023ꯒꯤ ꯊꯥꯛꯅꯤꯁꯦ ꯌꯥꯝꯅ ꯂꯥꯏꯕꯛꯊꯤꯕ ꯃꯪꯗꯁꯨ ꯊꯣꯛꯇꯕ ꯑꯣꯏꯁꯅꯨ ꯍꯥꯏꯅ ꯃꯇꯨꯡꯗ ꯑꯃꯨꯛ ꯍꯟꯅꯁꯨ ꯊꯣꯛꯇꯕ ꯑꯣꯏꯁꯅꯨ ꯍꯥꯏꯅ ꯑꯩ ꯏꯁꯣꯔꯗ ꯈꯨꯔꯨꯝꯖꯔꯤ ꯑꯗꯨꯒ ꯅꯨꯃꯤꯠꯁꯦ ꯌꯥꯝꯅ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯃꯩꯇꯩ ꯃꯆꯥ ꯑꯃ ꯑꯣꯏꯕꯒꯤ ꯂꯤꯡꯖꯦꯜ ꯃꯥꯡꯕ ꯍꯥꯏꯒꯗ꯭ꯔꯥ ꯊꯧꯅꯥ ꯂꯩꯇꯕ ꯍꯥꯏꯒꯗ꯭ꯔꯥ ꯅꯨꯃꯤꯠꯇꯨꯗ ꯑꯣꯏꯅ ꯊꯣꯛꯈ꯭ꯔꯦ ꯅꯨꯃꯤꯠꯁꯤꯗ ꯑꯌꯨꯛ ꯅꯨꯡꯊꯤꯟꯒꯤ ꯄꯨꯡ 2ꯃꯨꯛ ꯇꯥꯔꯛꯄ ꯃꯇꯝꯁꯤꯗ ꯑꯩ दुकान तवे अदुगा सप्लाई से तवे अदुगा निमित्ते आइगी सप्लाई तौबा मी आइगी द थंबा मी सिंसु लोइनमक छुट्टी ने हाइना चखिबा अदुगा आइगी कस्टमर खरा लागा थोंजे काउसिन बिरमेबा आइदी जिंगाना लोइना खारगा लेबा युमनेबा थोंजे काउसिन बिरमे आइना करिगिनो हायरा कांदा ngasi banne karigi thong hangino haina moina काउसिन बिरमे आई सुमोइगा मराइसी आमना येनो बतनबगी दमकता आई सु गसी बने थों हांगे आई युंगा दुकान गा पुनबनिना थों मी अमा लेबनिना थों दि खितंग दा हांगफम थोई हाय दुनै जो हांगबनी हाय मोइना आई से करेम नबगी टाइप ता यामना मी उसितबगी फी जे सुमाइना सिंगे बा इंगोंदा फी सिंगे से मरम करिगिनो आई दि लुखाबी आइना दुकान फमगा इता सेमगा इता युलपनी मोइना खोइ मितेगी लेखिजबा इफु हंगसे खोइ दुख थंगमै थारा इsoने ना खोइ दि खोइरमजै अदुबो मोइना आइसे लुखाबिने कमाइना खंगी दुख थंगमै थाबो नुमि खोजिंगे दुख थंगमै थाबासे मोइना खंगी अदुना मोइना आइसे याम उसितबगी मोंग फिजि सिंगबा मतम जाइना नोय अदुबो बाहाउना गितना किदा खोइ
जुमदि यादे हो मागे
आइदि दुकान गी लंबी दगी खोगा मदगी आइसे खोगा सेंथो एखोइगी ममांगदा लेबा दुकान अमा खताइसे चंगागा ngaihak leirame ngaihak leiramaga pung amamuk leiramba matungda aइसे अमु हलक्पा मतमदा मोइसे लेरमदरे लेरमदबदगी आइसे अमु एसीडी मोइ चखरेना हाइना इमुंगी थबक तौरगा लेरे इमुंगी थबक तौरगा लेबा मतुंगसिदा अमुका पुंग 3मुक तारकपा स्वाइदा अमुक लाए मोइ मी 10मुक लाए अदु मतमदना मी 10मुक लापसे एखोइगे युमोनरिबा सिंगसिजु मागी निमितसिदा इरांग लेबनिना पुन्ना लेना किबिगी अचिकपा जगा मफम ओइबा अचिकपा जगा मफम ओइबनिना मोइनासु अमुक चंगागा आइगी थोंग कौखाइबा अदुदगी दि गेट थुगाइबा खरा हौरे मोइसना आइना करिगिनो हाइरा कानसिदा मोइना हाय वासु ngang मोइन अमुकासु फीजि सिंगे आइना नोय अदु करिगिनो वारी फजना सनाजे नोय आइगी फी सिंगे मरम करिगिनो हाइरा कांदा आइगी फीजे मोइना सुमाइना सिंगबसिदा आइजु सावरगा आइगी होटल गी लेबा थांगे सटला कांदा आइना थांना मंगा सुमाइना थम्मेबा करिगिनो नोय नुपीदा दुमाइ तोइ मरम करिगिनो हाइरा आइजे थांगा सुमाइना थम्बगा आइजे थांगना मोइदा सुमाइना मुअमगा आइजे सेंथोगा लेकाय अमदा खोइगी थांनाबा लेकाय अमदा आइजे सटला लेरे लेकाय अमदा सटला लेरे मोइसु दुम हौरे आइजु इसासिंदो लेतबनिना इतों खक्ता लेबा तंसा ओइबनिना अदुबो अदु मोइसे चखरबा मतुंगसिदा आइजे इतोंदा हाइदोक्सिरा हारगासु इकाइबा हाइबदि लुखाबिनी अदुगिसु मथक्ता नुपी हाइबसिदि लुखाबि हाइबसिदि मीना आइबु नुसिबा लೈ आइबु नुसिदबा ngangnabिबा लೈ अदुगुम्बा लैबिगी आइजु हाइदोक्तरे आइजु मीना अदुम लैरे लेरकांदा खंगहौदना अमुकमु पुंग 3 तारकपा साइवाइसिदा एखोइ लेकाइगी क्लबकी आंगांसिंग अदुगा खुमुजामबगी आंगांसिंग खरा लाए एखोइ युमसिदा लापा मतमसिदा मोइन हाय इते नंगी थांग पियो हाय आइना करिगिनो हारगा आइगिदि ngसागी दुकान फंबनिना होटल तबनिना लाई हराउबगी पोट जोनबा पोट म्याम स्टॉक तौरगा लेबदो सेंबी साबिनबा लेतबगी उवा लौसिलगा लेबदो मोइना मतिंग पांगिरगा सेंबीनी हाइना खनबिगी आसादैसु थांगे ति मोइदा थांजे मोइना लौरगा आइगी उवा लेबसे मोइ खाइते होराइ पियो जुती पियो हाय पिरे
असे पोडियम जे
ते नौरी मरीगा नौरी मरु मार्बल लेबियो हाय आई कैदौनाबनो हाय मोइनी ते दे पियो हाय अदुदा ngasi sida phamiba mama tigi ai dumana dukan phamina ba mama ne
conference mandro
mama sida yai nauri maruga margol se leiraga si anga singida moin hai ite nang ngasi de na tomda laiganu irang laigani angang sidi hai aina angang sidi khoi gi thokpa khoi ga lemin na khage ite di mayam gi marak tin ga ro hai nai adu da mug le kai gi mi mayam se duty ta si hai nai se duty se le halakpa matam de mi kana so leiram dare ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏ ꯂꯩꯀꯥꯏ ꯃꯩ ꯊꯥꯔꯦ ꯂꯩꯀꯥꯏ ꯃꯩ ꯊꯥꯔꯦ ꯍꯥꯏꯅ ꯍꯥꯏ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏ ꯂꯩꯀꯥꯏꯒꯤ ꯃꯩ ꯊꯥꯔꯛꯄ ꯃꯇꯝꯁꯤꯅ ꯄꯨꯡ 6:05 ꯁ꯭ꯋꯥꯏꯗꯒꯤ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏ ꯂꯩꯀꯥꯏ ꯃꯃꯥꯡ ꯂꯩꯀꯥꯏꯁꯤꯗ ꯃꯩ ꯊꯥꯕ ꯍꯧꯔꯦ ꯃꯩ ꯊꯥꯔꯛꯄꯗꯒꯤ ꯃꯥꯒꯤ ꯂꯣꯏꯅ ꯑꯍꯟꯁꯤꯡ ꯑꯉꯥꯡꯁꯤꯡ ꯒ꯭ꯌꯥꯟ ꯃꯦꯟ ꯇꯥꯗꯕꯤ ꯅꯣꯡꯃꯩꯅ ꯀꯥꯞꯄꯛꯄꯗ ꯅꯣꯡꯃꯩꯅ ꯄꯥꯟꯕ ꯑꯗꯨꯗꯒꯤꯗꯤ ꯁꯤꯂꯤꯟꯗꯔ ꯌꯨꯝꯒꯤ ꯃꯩ ꯆꯪꯉꯛꯑꯕꯅꯤꯅ ꯑꯍꯟ ꯃꯌꯥꯝ ꯑꯃꯁꯨ ꯂꯩꯕꯅꯤꯅ ꯀꯗꯥꯏꯗ ꯊꯝꯈꯤꯒꯦ ꯍꯥꯏꯅ ꯃꯣꯏꯁꯦ ꯄꯨꯟꯁꯤꯟꯅꯔꯒ ꯊꯝꯃꯦ ꯃꯆꯤ ꯑꯃꯗ ꯑꯣꯏꯔꯒꯁꯨ ꯂꯩꯐꯝ ꯈꯪꯗꯦ ꯀꯃꯥꯏꯅ ꯇꯧꯔꯛꯀꯅꯤ ꯁꯤꯡꯅꯁꯨ ꯃꯩ ꯊꯥꯔꯒ ꯂꯥꯛꯑꯦ ꯃꯔꯛꯁꯤꯗ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏ ꯃꯌꯥꯝꯅ ꯏꯃꯥ ꯏꯄꯥꯅꯤ ꯈꯜꯂꯒ ꯊꯥꯒꯠꯈꯤꯕ LM ꯈꯥꯎꯇꯦꯗ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏ ꯂꯩꯀꯥꯏꯒꯤ ꯀ꯭ꯂꯕꯀꯤ ꯁꯦꯀ꯭ꯔꯦꯇꯔꯤ ꯑꯃꯗꯤ ꯃꯩꯔꯥꯄꯥꯏꯕꯤ ꯏꯃꯥ ꯃꯌꯥꯝꯕꯗꯒꯤ ꯃꯩꯇꯩ ꯁꯣꯁꯥꯏꯇꯤ ꯃꯌꯥꯝꯅ LM ꯈꯥꯎꯇꯦꯗ ꯄꯣꯁꯠ ꯇꯧꯏ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏ ꯂꯩꯀꯥꯏꯁꯦ ꯃꯩ ꯊꯥꯔꯦ ꯀꯟꯕꯤꯌꯨ ꯍꯥꯏꯅ ꯃꯇꯝꯗꯨꯗ ꯃꯥ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏ ꯀꯟꯕꯤꯅꯕ ꯊꯣꯛꯂꯛꯈꯤꯗꯦ ꯑꯗꯨꯒꯤ ꯃꯇꯨꯡꯗ ꯑꯃꯨꯛ ꯄꯨꯂꯤꯁ ꯁ꯭ꯇꯦꯁꯟꯗ ꯐꯣꯟ ꯇꯧꯏ ꯐꯣꯟ ꯇꯧꯕ ꯃꯇꯝꯗ ꯄꯨꯂꯤꯁ ꯁ꯭ꯇꯦꯁꯟꯒꯤ ꯄꯨꯂꯤꯁ ꯑꯃꯠꯇ ꯂꯥꯛꯑꯒ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏ ꯉꯥꯛꯄꯤ ꯁꯦꯟꯕꯤꯔꯛꯄ ꯉꯝꯈꯤꯗꯦ ꯉꯁꯥꯏ ꯐꯣꯟ ꯇꯧꯏ ꯄꯤꯕꯤꯗꯦ 27 ꯁꯦꯛꯇꯔꯗ ꯂꯩꯕ ꯁꯪꯒठꯟꯗ ꯐꯣꯟ ꯇꯧꯏ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯕꯨ ꯉꯥꯛꯄꯤ ꯁꯦꯟꯕꯤꯔꯛꯄ ꯉꯝꯈꯤꯗꯦ ꯑꯗꯨꯕꯨ ꯂꯥꯏꯕꯛ ꯌꯥꯝꯅ ꯊꯤꯕ ꯍꯥꯏꯒꯗ꯭ꯔꯥ ꯂꯥꯏꯕꯛ ꯌꯥꯝꯅ ꯐꯕ ꯍꯥꯏꯒꯗ꯭ꯔꯥ ꯈꯪꯗꯦ ꯂꯣꯏꯅ ꯑꯀꯣꯏꯕꯁꯦ ꯃꯩ ꯊꯥꯔꯒ ꯂꯩꯔꯛꯄꯁꯤꯗ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯁꯦ ꯂꯩꯐꯝ ꯈꯪꯗꯗꯅ ꯁꯣꯝ ꯅꯥꯀꯟꯁꯦ ꯉꯥꯛꯄ ꯌꯥꯕ ꯃꯌꯥꯝ ꯑꯃ ꯉꯥꯛꯑꯦ ꯉꯥꯛꯑꯁꯨ ꯉꯝꯃꯛꯇ꯭ꯔꯦ ꯏꯃꯥ ꯏꯄꯥꯒꯤ ꯑꯄꯥꯡꯒꯜ ꯀꯟꯕ ꯁꯣꯟꯕ ꯑꯍꯟꯁꯤꯡꯁꯤꯁꯨ ꯅꯨꯄꯤ ꯑꯉꯥꯡꯁꯤꯡꯁꯦ ꯅꯥꯀꯟ ꯑꯃꯗ ꯊꯩꯗꯣꯛꯄꯤꯔꯣꯅ ꯍꯥꯏꯔꯛꯄꯗꯒꯤꯗꯤ ꯄꯥꯎ ꯄꯤꯔꯛꯄꯗꯒꯤꯗꯤ ꯃꯊꯪ ꯆꯠꯀꯗꯕ ꯂꯝꯕꯤꯁꯤꯗꯤ ꯀꯨꯀꯤꯅ ꯂꯣꯏꯅ ꯔꯥꯎꯟ ꯇꯧꯁꯤꯟꯈ꯭ꯔꯒ ꯂꯩꯈ꯭ꯔꯕꯅꯤ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯂꯩꯀꯥꯏꯗ ꯆꯦꯡꯀꯣꯜ ꯂꯣꯛ ꯍꯥꯏꯔꯤꯕ ꯂꯣꯛꯁꯦ ꯌꯥꯝꯅ ꯐꯠꯇꯕ ꯑꯃꯣꯠꯄ ꯊꯥꯗꯕ ꯃꯐꯝ ꯃꯤꯅ ꯌꯥꯝꯅ ꯌꯦꯡꯅꯤꯡꯗꯕ ꯍꯪꯒꯣꯏꯅꯕ ꯃꯐꯝꯅꯤ ꯑꯗꯨꯒꯤ ꯇꯨꯔꯦꯟꯁꯤꯗ ꯑꯍꯤꯡꯒꯤ ꯄꯨꯡ 12 ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏ ꯃꯌꯥꯝꯁꯦ ꯃꯤ ꯃꯊꯪ ꯂꯣꯏꯅ ꯂꯥꯜꯂꯒ ꯆꯠꯂꯦ ꯃꯊꯪ ꯑꯀꯟꯕ ꯃꯤꯁꯤꯡꯁꯤꯅ ꯑꯁꯣꯟ ꯑꯅꯥꯁꯤꯡꯁꯦ ꯊꯥꯡꯇꯣꯛꯄꯤꯔꯦ ꯆꯠꯄꯤꯔꯦ ꯑꯗꯨꯒ ꯑꯩꯒꯤ ꯏꯄꯥꯗꯣ ꯃꯃꯤꯠ ꯎꯗꯕꯅꯤꯅ ꯃꯥꯗꯤ ꯆꯠꯄꯁꯦ ꯉꯝꯗ꯭ꯔꯦ ꯃꯌꯥꯝꯗꯤ ꯆꯠꯅꯈ꯭ꯔꯦ ꯑꯩꯅ ꯕꯕꯥ ꯅꯪ ꯅꯇꯣꯝꯇ ꯁꯤꯗ ꯂꯩꯍꯧꯕ ꯌꯥꯔꯣꯏ ꯆꯠꯁꯤꯜꯂꯛꯑꯣ ꯍꯥꯏ ꯏꯆꯥ ꯁꯥ ꯅꯣꯏ ꯆꯠꯈ꯭ꯔꯣꯗ ꯏꯄꯥꯗꯤ ꯃꯤꯠꯁꯨ ꯎꯗꯦ ꯑꯍꯟꯁꯨ ꯑꯣꯏꯔꯦ ꯑꯗꯨꯝ ꯁꯤꯖꯍꯧꯔꯒꯦ ꯍꯥꯏꯅ ꯕꯕꯥꯁꯤꯅ ꯍꯥꯏ ꯑꯩꯅ ꯕꯕꯥ ꯀꯔꯤꯒꯤꯅꯣ ꯅꯆꯥ ꯃꯌꯥꯝ ꯂꯩꯁꯤꯗꯤ ꯍꯥꯏꯔꯒ ꯕꯕꯥꯁꯦ ꯈꯨꯠ ꯁꯝꯃꯒ ꯑꯍꯤꯡꯒꯤ ꯄꯨꯡ 12 ꯇꯨꯔꯦꯟꯁꯦ ꯂꯥꯜꯂꯒ ꯇꯨꯔꯦꯟꯁꯤꯁꯨ ꯖꯥꯂꯤꯅ ꯁꯪꯕꯟ ꯈꯥꯕꯅꯦ ꯃꯌꯥꯝ ꯆꯪꯉꯒ ꯊꯨꯗꯦꯛꯑꯒ ꯌꯥꯝꯅ ꯋꯥꯅ ꯃꯩꯇꯩ ꯁꯣꯁꯥꯏꯇꯤꯗ ꯈꯔ ꯑꯗꯨꯒ ꯑꯣꯖꯥ ꯒꯣꯄꯤꯃꯣꯍꯟ ꯍꯣꯏ ꯍꯥꯏꯅ ꯂꯩꯌꯦ ꯑꯗꯨꯒꯤꯗ ꯈꯔ ꯃꯌꯥꯝꯁꯦ ꯊꯩꯔꯒ ꯊꯝꯃꯦ ꯃꯌꯥꯝꯁꯦ ꯊꯩꯔꯒ ꯊꯝꯕ ꯃꯇꯝꯁꯤꯗ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏ ꯂꯩꯀꯥꯏꯒꯤ ꯑꯍꯟꯅ ꯑꯗꯨꯃꯥꯏꯅ ꯂꯣꯏꯅ ꯊꯝꯈ꯭ꯔ ꯃꯇꯨꯡꯁꯤꯗ ꯑꯃꯨꯛꯀ ꯀꯃꯥꯏꯅ ꯇꯧꯏ ꯂꯩꯀꯥꯏꯒꯤ ꯅꯍꯥ ꯃꯄꯥꯡꯒꯜ ꯀꯟꯕ ꯏꯟꯈꯠꯂꯛꯏꯕ ꯅꯍꯥꯁꯤꯡꯁꯤꯅ ꯁꯣꯝꯗꯒꯤ ꯀꯨꯀꯤꯅ ꯃꯩ ꯊꯥꯔꯛꯄꯗꯣ ꯃꯥꯌꯣꯛꯅꯔꯤꯅꯤ ꯃꯥꯌꯣꯛꯅꯕꯁꯤ ꯀꯔꯤꯅ ꯃꯥꯌꯣꯛꯅꯔꯛꯏ ꯃꯣꯏꯗꯤ ꯅꯣꯡꯃꯩꯅꯤ ꯀꯥꯞꯄꯛꯏꯁꯦ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏ ꯃꯩꯇꯩ ꯃꯆꯥꯒꯤꯗꯤ ꯎꯄꯥꯏ ꯂꯩꯇꯦ ꯊꯥꯡ ꯅꯧꯔꯤ ꯅꯠꯇꯅ ꯎꯄꯥꯏ ꯂꯩꯇꯦ ꯃꯇꯝꯗꯣ ꯃꯣꯏ ꯂꯣꯏꯅꯃꯛ ꯑꯥꯗ ꯂꯩꯇꯦ ꯑꯩꯗꯣ ꯅꯨꯄꯥ ꯃꯌꯥꯝꯗꯨꯒꯤ ꯃꯔꯛꯇ ꯑꯩ ꯏꯇꯣꯝ ꯈꯛꯇ ꯑꯣꯏꯈꯤꯕ ꯅꯨꯃꯤꯠꯇꯨꯗ ꯅꯨꯄꯤꯁꯦ ꯅꯨꯄꯥ ꯃꯌꯥꯝꯗꯨꯒꯤ ꯑꯩꯅ ꯀꯔꯤ ꯄꯤꯈꯤ ꯑꯩꯒꯤ ꯌꯨꯝꯗ ꯂꯩꯕ ꯊꯥꯡ ꯄꯨꯊꯣꯛꯑꯒ ꯄꯤꯕ ꯅꯨꯡ ꯊꯛꯑꯒ ꯃꯣꯏꯗ ꯃꯇꯦꯡ ꯄꯥꯡꯕ ꯅꯧꯔꯤ ꯃꯔꯨ ꯑꯣꯏꯅꯕ ꯈꯨꯜꯂꯒ ꯄꯤꯕ ꯑꯗꯨꯗꯒꯤꯗꯤ ꯎꯇꯨꯞ ꯄꯤꯕ ꯃꯣꯏꯅ ꯍꯥꯏ ꯏꯕꯦꯝꯃ ꯅꯪ ꯂꯩꯍꯧꯔꯣ ꯃꯌꯥꯝꯁꯦ ꯁꯣꯝꯗ ꯂꯣꯏꯅ ꯆꯠꯈ꯭ꯔꯦ ꯅꯨꯄꯤ ꯃꯌꯥꯝ ꯑꯍꯟ ꯃꯌꯥꯝ ꯂꯩꯐꯝꯁꯤꯗ ꯂꯩꯌꯨ ꯅꯪ ꯅꯇꯣꯝꯗ ꯁꯤꯗ ꯌꯥꯎꯔꯤꯁꯤ ꯀꯔꯤꯒꯤꯅꯣ ꯍꯥꯏ ꯑꯩꯅ ꯀꯔꯤꯒꯤꯅꯣ ꯑꯩꯒꯤ ꯂꯩꯀꯥꯏꯒꯤ ꯏꯕꯨꯡ ꯏꯄ꯭ꯋꯥ ꯃꯌꯥꯝꯅ ꯑꯁꯨꯛ ꯌꯥꯝꯅ ꯋꯥꯔꯕ ꯃꯥꯌꯣꯛꯅꯔꯕ ꯃꯈꯣꯏ ꯃꯌꯥꯝ ꯑꯃ ꯃꯋꯥ ꯂꯩꯔꯤꯕ ꯃꯆꯤꯟ ꯃꯅꯥꯎ ꯃꯌꯥꯝꯁꯦ ꯁꯣꯏꯗ ꯉꯥꯝꯗꯅꯕ ꯍꯥꯏꯅ ꯉꯥꯛꯄꯤ ꯁꯦꯟꯕꯤꯔꯒ ꯑꯩꯅ ꯀꯩꯗꯧꯕꯒꯤ ꯑꯥꯗ ꯇꯨꯃꯤꯟꯅ ꯂꯩꯊꯣꯛꯀꯗꯣꯏꯅꯣ ꯑꯩꯁꯨ ꯑꯩꯒꯤ ꯑꯉꯝꯕ ꯃꯇꯦꯡ ꯄꯥꯡꯒꯦ ꯍꯥꯏꯅ ꯑꯩꯒꯤ ꯍꯣꯇꯦꯜꯁꯦ ꯊꯨꯒꯥꯏꯔꯒ ꯑꯩꯅ ꯏꯁꯤꯡ ꯐꯤꯜꯇꯔꯗꯒꯤ ꯏꯁꯤꯡꯁꯦ ꯂꯧꯊꯣꯛꯑꯒ ꯃꯣꯏꯗ ꯌꯦꯟꯕꯤꯕ ꯑꯗꯨꯗꯒꯤ ꯃꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯅꯨꯡꯒꯨꯝꯕ ꯅꯧꯔꯤꯒꯨꯝꯕꯁꯦ ꯄꯤꯔꯒ ꯃꯣꯏꯁꯦ ꯑꯗꯨꯃꯥꯏꯅ ꯃꯥꯌꯣꯛꯅꯔꯒ ꯌꯥꯝꯅ ꯋꯥꯅ ꯂꯩꯔꯦ ꯌꯥꯝꯅ ꯋꯥꯅ ꯂꯩꯔꯕ ꯃꯇꯨꯡꯁꯤꯗ ꯑꯃꯨꯛꯀ ꯄꯨꯡ 2:30 ꯇꯥꯔꯛꯄ ꯑꯁ꯭ꯋꯥꯏꯋꯥꯏꯗ
ꯑꯩ JS TV ꯂꯥꯏꯚ ꯊꯥ ꯂꯩꯔꯦꯕ ꯑꯗꯨ ꯔꯦꯀꯣꯔꯗꯤꯡꯁꯦ ꯃꯥꯅ ꯇꯧꯔꯤꯁꯦ ꯐꯩꯅ ꯅꯝ ꯂꯩꯔꯦ ꯁꯤ ꯍꯌꯦꯡ ꯆꯨꯝꯅ ꯅꯝꯕ ꯑꯃ ꯗꯔꯀꯥꯔ ꯑꯣꯏꯅꯦ ꯑꯃ ꯄꯨꯔꯥ ꯐꯨꯜ ꯔꯦꯀꯣꯔꯗ ꯇꯧꯗꯕ ꯌꯥꯔꯣꯏ ꯃꯩ ꯀꯌꯥ ꯌꯥꯎꯔꯤꯅꯣ ꯌꯥꯔꯦ ꯀꯩꯅꯣ
ꯂꯣꯏꯅ ꯄꯨꯁꯟꯅꯔꯒꯅꯦ ꯊꯣꯡꯅꯔꯛꯏꯁꯦ ꯌꯥꯝꯅ ꯋꯥꯅ
ꯑꯗꯨ ꯁꯝꯃꯤꯔꯣ ꯁꯝꯃꯤꯅ ꯃꯨꯊꯠꯈ꯭ꯔꯣ
ꯏꯃꯥ ꯏꯄꯥ ꯏꯕꯨꯡ ꯏꯄ꯭ꯋꯥ ꯏꯆꯤꯟ ꯏꯅꯥꯎ ꯃꯌꯥꯝꯁꯦ
ꯁꯨꯃꯥꯏꯅ ꯇꯧꯔꯒ ꯊꯝꯃꯒꯦ
ꯂꯨꯄꯥ 10 ꯄꯤꯕ ꯃꯤꯅꯔꯦꯜ ꯕꯣꯇꯜꯁꯦ ꯂꯨꯄꯥ 50 ꯄꯤꯌꯦ ꯂꯨꯄꯥ 50 ꯂꯩꯕ ꯃꯤꯅ ꯏꯁꯤꯡꯁꯦ ꯊꯛꯄ ꯐꯪꯉꯦ ꯑꯗꯨꯒ ꯗꯤꯁꯄꯣꯖꯦꯜ ꯈ꯭ꯋꯥꯏꯗꯒꯤ ꯁ꯭ꯃꯣꯜ ꯁꯥꯏꯖꯁꯦ ꯃꯥꯒꯤ ꯗꯤꯁꯄꯣꯁꯦ ꯇꯪꯈꯥꯏ ꯆꯉꯥꯡ ꯂꯨꯄꯥ 10 ꯂꯩꯕ ꯃꯤꯅ ꯆꯉꯥꯡꯁꯦ ꯊꯛꯄ ꯐꯪꯉꯦ ꯈꯨꯗꯛꯇꯨꯗ ꯃꯩ ꯊꯥꯔꯒ ꯃꯃꯥ ꯃꯆꯥ
ꯁꯤꯁꯦ
ꯃꯕꯨꯡ
ꯍꯣꯔꯦꯟ
ꯃꯧꯄ꯭ꯋꯥ
ꯀꯩꯅꯣꯗ
ꯀꯗꯥꯏꯅꯣ
ꯊꯝꯃꯨꯀꯣ
ꯍꯥꯏꯅ ꯍꯤꯡꯅꯕ ꯍꯥꯏꯅ ꯂꯥꯛꯄ ꯃꯇꯝꯗꯨꯗ ꯈꯨꯠꯇꯗꯤ ꯂꯨꯄꯥ 10 ꯄꯥꯏꯗꯕ ꯂꯨꯄꯥ 1 ꯄꯥꯏꯔꯛꯇꯕ ꯃꯌꯥꯝ ꯑꯃꯅꯤ ꯁꯨꯡꯌꯥꯎ ꯌꯥꯎꯗꯕꯤꯁꯨ ꯂꯥꯛꯏ ꯑꯩ ꯏꯁꯥꯃꯛꯁꯨ ꯁꯨꯡꯌꯥꯎ ꯌꯥꯎꯔꯛꯇꯦ ꯏꯁꯤꯡ ꯊꯛꯅꯤꯡꯕꯗꯣ ꯏꯁꯤꯡ ꯊꯛꯄ ꯐꯪꯗꯦ ꯆꯥꯅꯤꯡꯕ ꯊꯛꯅꯤꯡꯕ ꯀꯌꯥ ꯑꯃ ꯆꯥꯕ ꯊꯛꯄ ꯐꯪꯗꯅ ꯂꯥꯛꯏ ꯑꯗꯨꯒ ꯑꯗꯨꯒꯤ ꯃꯔꯛꯁꯤꯗ ꯑꯃꯨꯛ ꯀꯔꯝꯃꯥꯏꯅ ꯇꯧꯏ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯂꯩꯀꯥꯏꯒꯤ ꯏꯅꯦ ꯑꯃꯈꯛ ꯃꯥꯁꯦ ꯄꯥꯈꯠꯄꯗꯒꯤ ꯁꯤꯂꯤꯟꯗꯔ ꯄꯣꯛꯈꯥꯏꯕ ꯅꯣꯡꯃꯩ ꯀꯥꯞꯄ ꯅꯣꯡꯃꯩꯅ ꯀꯥꯞꯄꯛꯄꯗ ꯄꯥꯟꯕ ꯑꯗꯨꯒꯨꯝꯕ ꯃꯌꯥꯝꯁꯤꯗꯒꯤ ꯐꯨꯒꯠꯄꯗꯒꯤ ꯃꯥꯁꯦ ꯋꯥꯟꯊꯔꯦ ꯋꯥꯟꯊꯕ ꯃꯇꯝꯁꯤꯗ ꯃꯥꯒꯤ ꯏꯁꯤꯡ ꯈꯤꯇꯪꯗ ꯄꯤꯊꯛꯄꯤꯔꯒ ꯂꯋꯥꯏꯗ ꯏꯁꯤꯡ ꯈꯤꯇꯪ ꯊꯥꯕꯤꯔꯒ ꯒ꯭ꯌꯥꯟ ꯂꯥꯛꯀꯗꯧꯕ ꯏꯅꯦꯁꯦ इसिंग फंगदबनिना अदुम खुदक मा अदुमागी पुंसी लोइबा हेबदो अदुम लोइगरे मागी मागी थवाई पुंसी लोइबा मतमदुदा ममा मतासु थेगनते मागी मपुरैबुसु थेगनते ममंसु थेगनते सांजेलरगा लेइबा मी मया सिंगना कनानो हारना फिदि दो खुसिलगा थपीबा मागी मसा कनी दिजी कताई से लेइबदो हारगा थिदिनि दबा ये थिदि दबा दिसु लेइतबा अदुगुम्बा वाबा मयाम अमा थेगनरे थेगनबदि मरक्सिदा मुसोमदगी नकुकीना नोंमै कापथिलकनी नु थाजिलकनी मेतै मसा हाकनी आइना सोमदना अमु लेइबा मयामसे अमु तीनगनी अमु पाखगनी 27 सेक्टरदा लेइबा सिफाइनिना पुथोपिरनी हायगदी सोमददी सुको पुथोपिदबा असोनबा अनाबा मयामसे खरा खरा होंतोपा हौबसिदा आइजे इफागी खरा अनाबा लेइदबनिना मोय मयामसिना नंग यावबरो हारगै इंथोपिरे इंथोपिरपा मतमदुदा इसानु पागा आइगे सेना साइगे युमदा थोलपा मतमदा खुदसे सुमाइना समनरगा लाखोनि इमाइतासे इमाइता खुद समनरगा लाखोदो कैतर करी हाइना तौई मोइना तौबिबसे लांजेलपा खोइसिदा नंग नुपीने सखरो मादि नुपाने सपा यारोय अइना हाइमा आई इसानी याम अंगांगनी याम किरिबनी हाय नोइनि नमिता पियगसु अखोय यारोय सपा यारोय हाइदुना आई इसा नुपासे
ते नमते लेइत्रे तौई
नुमितुदा इसा मोइदा इखंजे ममा अमना मसाई नमक्ता वाबदो पै अमुति मति वागे बदो इसादो अइना इबा इसाजे कन्ना पाइछनरगसु खुदे पाइछनरगसु मोइ मी परे इपानी माइताजे सतोपिर आई इथोरे गेटसिगी वांगबदा नंग सखोन इसा नुपासिसु थोरपसु ngamdaba mama aina kauraga mamite yengaga mamite batti taraga lihawi aisu satpa ngamdadi thopa ngamdadi yaamna wana laga ima isagi awabase dumaina yaamna wana lai mama amana masagi damasa kaya wai haibudo ngasi gi thoiba irangi da thengnarapa mina khangani adu ya wabi mathakta mu kari haina wai amu isage mukhiba mu khangdare इताजे कमाइना सिनो फंदे ममा आइदि मोइनि इंथोपिरगा पुथोपिरे आई इसादुदि आदले हौरे मीगिदि ममा मपा मसिन मना लोइनमा तारासु तादसु पुरा लेनिनरि आइगिदि निता इरा वरा युम थमै साप इपुरो बसु लेगसु नतपा इसाजे मितो मफंदबा निमितुदai ना वाबा खोवादो निमितुदगी हौनाइ चोटानपुरदा लेइदिबा मी मयामसे लथोको लोइदिबो आई चाक चारोय हाइदु लेइसरा हेले मेगी सांगो हम दगी चाकर तबदुना तंतरा मथोइगे नुंगांगी पुंगरो मखाइदे चाकर मोइने अखोइबु नापी थेंबिरगा थंबिरैबा खोइगी थवाइ कुलसी कनबिरगा थंबिरैबा सेकेंडरीदा लेइबा इमा मैरा पाइबी अमादि कमिटी मयामदना इबेमा नंगु चाकाउ दुमाइ तौरगदि यारोय नंग थंगा हनबा यारोय इसागी दमक्ता मयामगी दमक्ता हिंगदुबनि हाइना लै आइबु थेमे आई थेमबदो आई यादे आई अदुम सरा हेनबदगी मोइना आइसे जेकेन बिरगा मोइरांगी एमएलए कका सरजीते पुरगा कौरे मोइना कौरगा आइसे अमुक थेमहले थेमबा मतमसिदा बेमनंग करिदिनो ससादिदि हाय आइन हाय कका होइना अखोइबु योपी बाय खोइबु नुसिबि चोरसानपुरगी 27 सेक्टरदली हौरिबा इमा इसा इबुं इपाली हौरिबा मयामसे मोइगी थवाइ कानबियो मोइजे लफोकियो मोइ लफोकु लोबे मतमदा इसा सागन हाय ऐसे मोइना थेमगा लोइरबा मतुंगसिदा ऐसे पबुंग बिरेन उनबा पुबिरे कका संतिना माइगे स्कोर तौरगा पुबिरगा पबुंग बिरेनसे वरि सनबा मतमसे 27 सेक्टरदा लेइबा ओसीगा मोइ लाइन फाउनरगा मोइ साना खनपसे खुदक्ता मोइसे साहलगसु ऐगे इमिसिदरी मोइ चाकाबा उजे मोइ इसिंग थपा उदबनिना अदु अवाबा उरे ओरानी हाय अमुकी तनी कहु तंगा नी के सौनदी ने उहाइरे अदुगी अवाबा दमु हे ni kina dum matang thola ko matan ai isa du thola sidare mo isa thola sabani na isa du mo khande bani na isa go ni na to ke ho re ni na ku pi ho re hai di ko ai do kan ni na nei le
Kayno no na ama pa to le jo khat ta lo tak tak lo tak tak lo tak tak lo
adugu mayamsina aigi awabado wamandagi moina aigi se puraga kem hangiba mayam laiba
Jadi nang gidi CBS ke ni speaker nang puro ID Manipur ko gini
itu pun ai lo la ke
ko na la am kini lo
ade
yang menga singol yang betam lo ba ai
Mama, mama tak ada kita kumalam pak sama yang nanti yang bani koi na mama gini hendak jadi kagak atau jadi sakla lagi kat buku ya. Ini tak sih nang kasabra ya mama tambangan ni mama. Mayam na tasbih na mesti mayam ya waktu untuk kamu ko. Aduh ya aku
ma kai chang sa ke oh kya ha bari
awaba mayam se ya Allah wa nan tortan purja ji biting na thinga ra ko sing mayam na di khangbiram ba ya khangbiram da ba ya adugo akaki matik je khoi ware ri ni kem da lai ba se ꯏꯆꯥꯗꯣ ꯑꯗꯨꯃꯥꯏꯅ ꯐꯪꯉꯕ ꯃꯇꯨꯡꯗ ꯑꯃꯨꯛ ꯑꯩꯒꯤ ꯂꯥꯏꯕꯛ ꯊꯤꯕꯒꯤ ꯊꯧꯗꯣꯛꯁꯦ ꯀꯔꯝꯍꯥꯏꯅ ꯊꯣꯛꯏ ꯏꯆꯥꯗꯨꯅ ꯃꯤꯒꯤ ꯁ꯭ꯀꯨꯜ ꯀꯥꯕ ꯎꯔꯒ ꯑꯃꯨꯛ ꯃꯃꯥ ꯑꯩꯒꯤꯁꯨ ꯌꯨꯅꯤꯐꯣꯔꯝ ꯂꯩꯔꯝꯕꯅꯤ ꯃꯩ ꯆꯥꯛꯑꯝꯃꯅꯤ ꯂꯥꯏꯔꯤꯛꯁꯨ ꯃꯩ ꯆꯥꯛꯑꯝꯃꯅꯤ ꯑꯩꯒꯤ ꯁ꯭ꯀꯨꯜ ꯀꯥꯕ ꯐꯪꯉꯔꯣꯏ ꯍꯥꯏꯅ ꯑꯃꯨꯛ ꯀꯞꯄꯒ ꯑꯃꯨꯛ ꯂꯩꯔꯝꯃꯦ ꯏꯆꯥꯒꯤ ꯁ꯭ꯀꯨꯜ ꯀꯥꯕ ꯐꯪꯗꯕꯒꯤ ꯍꯥꯏꯅ ꯃꯐꯝ ꯈꯨꯗꯤꯡꯒꯤ ꯆꯠꯂꯒ ꯍꯥꯏꯖꯔꯨꯕ ꯃꯇꯝꯗ ꯐꯪꯖꯔꯦ ꯑꯗꯨꯁꯨ ꯂꯩꯇ꯭ꯔꯦ ꯃꯣꯏꯒꯤꯗꯤ ꯇ꯭ꯔꯥꯟꯁꯐꯔ ꯀꯤ ꯑꯃ ꯌꯥꯎꯗ꯭ꯔꯒꯗꯤ ꯃꯤꯡ ꯆꯟꯕ ꯌꯥꯔꯣꯏ ꯍꯥꯏꯅ ꯑꯃꯨꯛ ꯍꯥꯏꯔꯦ ꯃꯥꯒꯤ ꯃꯤꯡ ꯆꯟꯅꯕꯒꯤ ꯇꯥꯟꯅꯕ ꯆꯦꯟꯊꯣꯛ ꯆꯦꯟꯁꯤꯟ ꯆꯦꯜꯂꯤꯉꯩ ꯃꯇꯝꯁꯤꯗ
yang no ay oh mai đi đây si hay 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 rồi không được nói cái này được
alang amo na iwan da pali adu ay gumba malay bakira ba lukha di sa yapa basta gi da mo sa walang gadi na din tam na ba gi mata na sani ko di sa ko sam na ba gi teni matira kai pa bang na ba gi mama mapamoy ba lang sila iba mo yung may isa kita magtagal nagkakasala
ha ai je ai biết những cái ngầm đấy mà này ai hai cô kêu nữa अच्छा
ai nang ji ke no jadi am ku ba ne ke no mama da ko ku de do Haryana da
oh
mama mapa lai ka kinna di lan sila aga su mama ga mapa
cái vậy đấy nó
ai ji ke sam
mama ga na hera ko ni mapa ga ka te kari ko ba su ka lai da ko ke ne da wadi sana da wadi sai da su lai da
ini jangan mana mana
mama ni ke ni ko ka si ko
ada ni passport anan
ni ba sa ti ga mama ga ku sa
hang dia boy number one boy ay khang dia
bus lag do wali
bus bus se patil ches kya nga gai ju bus la ba lang to khang dia ni ꯃꯤꯗꯨꯅꯤꯅꯦ ꯕꯁꯇꯤ ꯐꯥꯒꯦꯅ ꯇꯧꯔꯤꯅꯤ ꯐꯥꯔꯤꯃꯤ
ꯂꯥꯟꯁꯤꯅ ꯃꯔꯝ ꯑꯣꯏꯔꯒ ꯂꯥꯏꯔꯤꯛ ꯃꯈꯥ ꯇꯝꯊꯍꯟꯕ ꯉꯝꯗꯕꯗꯒꯤ ꯃꯥꯁꯨ ꯃꯥꯅ ꯂꯤꯖꯔꯤꯕ ꯑꯁꯥꯗꯣ ꯀꯥꯏꯕꯗꯒꯤ ꯏꯁꯥꯗꯣ ꯃꯊꯪꯁꯨ ꯇꯧꯕ ꯌꯥꯔꯛꯇꯕ ꯐꯤꯕꯝ ꯆꯥꯔꯛꯇꯕꯗꯒꯤ ꯑꯩꯁꯨ ꯃꯥꯅ ꯍꯧꯖꯤꯛ ꯑꯃꯨꯛ ꯕꯦꯡꯒ꯭ꯂꯣꯔꯗ ꯑꯃꯨꯛ ꯃꯃꯥ ꯑꯩ ꯁꯨꯃꯥꯏꯅ ꯂꯩꯔꯒꯗꯤ ꯑꯩ ꯉꯝꯃꯔꯣꯏ ꯑꯩ ꯏꯅꯥꯎꯅꯨꯄꯥꯒꯤ ꯂꯥꯏꯔꯤꯛ ꯇꯝꯅꯕꯒꯤꯗꯃꯛꯇ ꯑꯩ ꯂꯥꯏꯔꯤꯛ ꯇꯝꯕ ꯌꯥꯗ꯭ꯔꯦ ꯑꯩ ꯃꯥꯒꯤ ꯄꯩꯁꯥ ꯇꯥꯟꯒꯦ ꯍꯥꯏꯅ ꯑꯃꯨꯛ ꯆꯠꯈ꯭ꯔꯦ ꯑꯃꯨꯛ ꯀꯔꯝꯕ ꯃꯃꯥꯅ ꯀꯔꯝꯕ ꯃꯄꯥꯅ ꯂꯥꯟꯁꯤꯒꯤ ꯃꯅꯨꯡꯁꯤꯗ ꯏꯆꯥ ꯀꯣꯟꯁꯤꯜꯂꯒ ꯂꯩꯒꯗꯕ ꯃꯇꯝꯗ ꯅꯣꯡꯃꯩ ꯀꯥꯞꯅꯔꯛꯄ ꯃꯇꯝꯗꯨꯗ ꯏꯆꯥ ꯑꯅꯤꯃꯛ ꯎꯪꯕ ꯐꯪꯗꯕ ꯑꯁꯤꯗ ꯅꯣꯡꯃꯩ ꯀꯥꯞꯅꯍꯧꯔꯦ ꯁꯤꯗ ꯃꯤ ꯁꯤꯍꯧꯔꯦ ꯍꯥꯏꯕ ꯃꯇꯝꯗ ꯑꯉꯥꯡꯗꯨꯃꯥꯏꯅ ꯑꯩꯅ ꯑꯩꯒꯤ ꯏꯆꯥꯗꯣ ꯁꯤꯕ ꯌꯥꯎꯔꯝꯒꯗ꯭ꯔꯥ ꯅꯣꯡꯃꯩ ꯀꯥꯞꯅꯕ ꯃꯐꯝꯗ ꯌꯥꯎꯔꯝꯒꯗ꯭ꯔꯥ ꯑꯩꯅ ꯀꯣꯏꯆꯦꯟ ꯆꯦꯟꯕꯗ ꯏꯆꯥꯗꯣ
ꯆꯨꯝꯃꯦ ꯒꯥꯔꯤ ꯑꯅꯤꯃꯛ ꯂꯥꯛꯑꯕꯣ ꯑꯃꯈꯛ ꯌꯧꯔꯦ ꯀꯩꯅꯣꯒꯤꯗꯤ ꯃꯩꯇꯩꯗꯨ ꯀꯥꯏ ꯂꯩꯈ꯭ꯔꯦ इसी की तरफ होता
Thank you, Ine Bem, for sharing your story, for being vulnerable here. Ine Bem is an IDP who stays in a relief camp. She stays from Manipur. For many months, the same but when we met her, she was molested, forced to flee her home because LM County didn't respond to her help because it rendered useless. She had to protect her own father to also witness, and she endured the pain of the pain.
नंगी फोन नंबर से क्या लो ठीक है
She is the voice of all the people in Manipur who have suffered and been tortured beyond imagination. Thank you, Inebam, for sharing your story once again. Now, it is my honor to introduce the third speaker, Mr. Yekung Bunchendo, the president of Mayon, who has been a dedicated leader and advocate for student rights and community welfare. He served as the former president of Masad and general secretary of NIST, and has over 5 years of student fraternity and community development. So let's welcome Bunchendo.
माई मना तो लोग फम ले रहे हैं मम्मी जी
हम वक्तदा ngasi tinbiriba miyambu ikoknama koyamjari ngasi manipurda loiba tandumecha manipur tandumecha da bafigam asi tagi ani bharaba phawada karigi damakta central government na irang asi lotion mangam dribano masida tonga tongan ba public opinion sing mayamang su leigre leiriba oiriba lan asi india government ki adugumba proxy war ni haiba hainaribani मसी चुंगनी हाइना सुखली मरमदी ngasi mapalamdagi changsinlekiba kuki militant sing asina proxy army oina sijina bu mami tari aduduga india government ni proxy army asibu yokatlaga thambagi mami su tari masi aina haijaribugi maramdi ahambada hojik manipur government hana leiramba hojik asini bifam oite leiriba bifam sida manipur da kya la aba matunda mayamna tanzania kan
oh अच्छा क्या हो जाएगा हेलो क्या क्या होटल बनाए
बना देती हूँ आजा
बना लो कितने कितने ले लिया कितना वीडियो ले लिया
मैंने अभी वीडियो पूरा कैप्चर किया दिखा देती हूँ बाकी मैं पेपर में लगा दूंगी
ठीक
मेरी मम्मी बीमार है इसलिए मुझे जाना होगा मुझे तो सही
जा रहे अभी तो और ले लो थोड़ा सा और ले लो
थोड़ा सा और लेते नंबर
नंबर उनका नंबर ले लो जो मैं बताता हूँ बोलो
सही होगा
हाँ
सही होगा करा दो
इसलिए तो बोल रहा हूँ मैं बताता हूँ
central forces mayam amakaksu hojing manipur gi oriba figam sida atopa kanglu maruoina hojiki kuki haiba jati sida hena bai
कहा गया
hojik chingi saruk amadi tamki saruk ani sida tungan ba mi bagi wa ko lady
उसके पास जाओ जाओ
bagi wa ko ya ma lady mani ko di beli da mun ki hai ba ko lai ba se da to lai da ba da sin ki saru sin da to ki na थोड़ा एक दो इंटरव्यू करवा दो मैं निकल जाऊंगा सुबदा अदुना उरिबा बिगम सिदा सेंटरना होजिक मणिपुर सि करम मिनिंग लिंग मगे कांगु अनि उकी नत्रगना मैते हि वफम तो खगा इंडिया के असुक
इंटरव्यू के लिए ना
मणिपुर को पलेगा ने जबलेबा असिदा सेंट्रल करी मियंग येंगी सेंट्रल अकोय मणिपुर सि इंडिया की पार्ट अमन नति हाइना खलबरा नत्रगा सेंट्रल अकोय मणिपुर सि नेग्लेक्ट तौरगा थंबसिना मरम होयगा हौजिक जियो
देख ले आपको देख लिया
की तमक्ता लांची हे नमखा थांदबरा हाइबु वफम तो खंदब ngamde मरी सुबदा ngasi hafta ama ni ki mamang da thokiba jamui kashmir ke tahgram ki terrorist attack ta
उधर
की पर्सन mayam ama khak masi ki matang da over review meeting tawse india ki pm narendra modi phawa UAE ki thadu lamba da india la ki wa lady at the same time india Tapi bu, sini mayam tahu bagi orang orang yang baru itu, jadi kamu bukan benar itu yang dari apa? Biar kita masih baru kita yang nam biar terus.
Nang kena apa? Kena no kena tahu saja. White law nabo ko.
So okay, my register dengan ton. Will you please write down your name and the phone number and the media that you represent? Ini Instagram mo हमें समझ गया मगर यहीं पे इस समय आप आ रहे हैं कि वो समझने के लिए
पिछली बार मैंने कितना कवर किया था सारे चले गए थे लेकिन मैं थी अंधेरे में मैंने सबका कवर किया
कौन सा लेगा हिंदी का लेगा कौन सा लेगा हिंदी का मैं
सबका कवर किया था मैंने तब भी कुछ नहीं
इधर आ जाओ मीडिया जो फुल तो कवर तो होते लो करो तो होते मार करो तो भी होला फुल तो होता
जब शाम तक आप लोग थे यहाँ पर सारी लेडीज नीचे बैठ गई थी सारा कवर किया था
कितना बाइट लेगा
एक दो कितने
बाइट मैं चला गया तो चाहते हैं तो बाइट लोग जे करो ना पहले लगे मां जे संगीत में पहले लगे हिंदी देखो
तबीयत खराब है
नहीं वो तो ठीक है
इस वजह से कह रही हूँ थोड़ा जल्दी कर देती
ना इबुंगो जे उगिद्रेने मसक जे
आई एग्जाम वे थावे तो है अरो आई नाकल ले बंगा के पानी लागने बस पाव का है
बस अमल लाक्ट्रीवा
लाखन मी कुन मातो तो है की ना पोरे मी
हो या तो नहीं पाई ना उ दे बनंग ना लो लगे
आई वाला दी अरो वो संगा पी है नंबा मामो आई अंगरम ने मी अनि हम संगा पी
हां
एसीपी के से ले पे यंग लग रहे हैं
डीसीपी ने
करने नहीं आता डीसीपी ने से
हां
डीसीपी दोनों है अब फोन तो कोई नहीं था
चल गया ओนี่หลักนี่งักตั้งนี่ไงอยู่ไงเนาะचलो अच्छा हिंदी वाले दे रहे हैं इनको ले
आप बताएंगे उसको विस्तार से
इनके पास
मुझे अपना नंबर तो दे दो
मेरा नंबर क्या करोगे मैं यही हूँ अभी तो दूर है यार दूर लेना यही हूँ मैं फोटो ले
देना लेकिन
हाँ
Thank you, Ima.
फोन तो रखवा दे सर ना
Officially coming to attend this event. Next,
ako yun na ako
limited time. So next, I would like to call Dr. Bobo, spokesperson DNCC. Dr. Bobo, Dr. Noreen Bobo is Bukit has been a member of the community and has been working tremendously for the cause of Manipur. So I would like to call upon Dr. Narem Bobo, spokesperson DNCC. A big round of applause for Dr. Bobo.
Bye pe ra. Bye pe ra.
Bye.
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 Hindi da. Hindi
Hey,
da.
nasi toro yang sang mo tin mi sure tum do. Ki do gai pi di ping mane do kon de ya di ya.
Good evening, everyone, and distinguished guests. Amadi ngasi iramdam Manipur dai lengbirai ba Marai Pavi Maibel Singh Amadi An Singhu Apoi Delhi da lai ba irai sa puno magna ikai khumna butari amadi pong nondo na khum jare. Since today is May 3rd, the dark chapter of Manipur, and you have already seen what is happening since last 2 years in Manipur. The so-called illegal immigrants, narco-terrorists, Kuki-Jo community, who has challenged the pillar of democracy, legislature, executive, and judiciary. You have seen it. They defy all the laws of democracy. Despite all this, the central government is keeping silent without an eye for the people of Manipur. So we have the right to raise our voice. Imagine it. On May 3rd, in Churchampur district, Kangpopi, More, which were dominated by the Kuki-Jo communities with sophisticated arms like AK-47, AK-56, in front of the Central Security Forces, they are killing the Meitei communities and torturing, burning the houses. So, just ask yourself, where is the Armed Force Special Power Act? Where is the Armed Force Special Power Act which you have imposed in Manipur? Are you going to keep silent? Mayam to Kanbiu. May 30 Kenoda, Armed Force Special Power Act later, a quick chingy lambda, the Atay area, the higher never. Aduga, sophisticated weapon file, AK-47, 56 file, my station, the Kappa, and all civilians ko nupi nang sinda amadi jum mai thaba amadi textual rape na singba amadi angang sinda open nei ba myam to sida armed force special power ek apply lai garage ba adu tam central force in sina gada ba mai without kind of authority of power to cry lai garage ba protection of the civilians adu ka hujina ona taina ba samda and now you are imposing more and more armed force special power to the valley areas Chibu Karamba Constitution ki law no. Amadi ngasi napili ba ako'y IDP victims sila ako'y ay halim ba iche
Delhi su amadi apni malem ng mafang kurimak su Meitei irisya miyamam laide ako'y Meitei nungsa Pupi athuwi ngakani wakhan sonda bigano no monetary no madi will take it will overcome it amadi akoi gi leiriba Manipur da so atai mafam khudimak ta chungasi lauduna lai amadi
akoi makata na su tawdakini until less Manipur is safe and peaceful may ang gabaning ba
Akwai ce state da lai ma punjal lai da sai ya yi ku go da
Sale punjil lai.
sai ka ga tola ga tumi je kai
kullun si tanana lai na ba we have always been
ko na da biro kai hai no ba
thank you Mr. Ravi and Oza thank you ma'am for coming and other dignitaries also. So it's not that we, people of Manipur, especially the Meitei communities, we are peace-loving communities, but we don't underestimate us that to divide and rule Manipur. For Manipur unity and Manipur progressive, and for each and every citizen of Manipur will stand together
Ako'y soidana punna leminagani leptanu sunakani. Ako'y ipai pusina sarilisim kayadagi lamba salagambase. You cannot just over 1 2 year or something else. You cannot just.
Natra kenodo kari Nil Chandra karaga tambi ba yabre ngonta.
Amadi Ogru Pagani had no
Oliver Nil Chandra ju karaga mating nang taraga ko leraga maju kitang tung jaholo. Ay wang tay ay ro.
Manipur sorry. Thank you all.
Thank you, Ozabobo. Next, I would like to call Mrs. Seron Noyan, classical Manipuri and Odyssey dancer, to give space on the course of Manipur. A big round of applause for Mrs. Seron Noyan.
Marupot na baham na kay gumantin ising sa gayang matati na sige bipam masipo mapumpan bikini hay to lek direct liba ng si Jarwi ray sa sina ay ko gi stes ki mamang da pam na ba siam sa diba sida nga akan election bidu na sa tok na lay diba du maya pulok abutun tasin ministry hay to election zabi
I'm not sure. Should I wait? You want me to wait till the MP comes? Or should I start? Go ahead. Okay, thank you. I was I was invited here to be with you because I have a little, very small knowledge of Manipur, but a great deal of affection. I can speak only as a performing artist. I'm familiar with my personal experience of Manipuri culture from a desire that the people of the state can all resolve their aspirations peacefully without violence, and all can live safely in their own homes. My first visit to Manipur was in 1974. I had come to India over a half a century ago to continue learning Manipuri dance as a Fulbright scholar. At that time, there were restrictions on visitors, so I was based in Delhi, and my main training was with Guru Singhajit Singh. But I was able to go in 1994 and again in 76 and spend extensive time studying at the Jawaharlal Nehru Manipur Dance Academy, studying not only Ras, but Lai Haroba, Maidi tradition, and Patal Cholam. So many people across this great country of Bharat have never had the opportunity to know about Manipur, to know about its culture, its people, the richness and the depth of this multi-religious, multi-ethnic society. I am incredibly fortunate that because of my love for the dance, I was given permission to go. When I went in 1974, So few people had ever come that when I asked in a government office for a map of Imphal to get around, the officer told me to come back the next day, and he had personally painted a watercolor map of Imphal for me because a map of Imphal didn't exist. There was no hotel, there was only the government guest house. And it was my privilege at that time to be able to not only learn, I also made some wonderful videos. If you go to my YouTube channel, you can see what Sankirtan was like in the early 70s. Now, because Manipur is a multicultural state, and I know that it has over 35 communities, it has tangible and intangible heritage that I wish everyone, not only in India, but internationally, could know about, visit, and enjoy. It is definitely a jewel in all of the treasury of India. Every home, when I went there in the 70s, and I'm speaking not to the Manipuris because you know all of this, but I'm speaking to people who may know very little. Every home had a hip loom on the front porch. Everyone made their own cloth. There were no synthetics, no nylons. Everything was beautifully aesthetic. Every home had a courtyard for Ras Leela because everyone, if they could manage, would love to have their son or daughter play Krishna and Radha. For much of this beautiful country, classical dances are performed on stages, occasionally in beautiful settings with the background of temples. But in Manipur, the classical dance is a living tradition. It is done as part of families, at homes, in their own spaces. It's done in temples like Sri Sri Govindaji. No one in the audience would ever walk out during Bangia Chobi. Nobody will move. And it's a tradition that is absolutely living. All of the life traditions, whether it's a birth or a death, Sankirtan. That's both Kartal with the singing and the Cholam. What most of India sees of Manipuri dance is incredibly beautiful and created for short stage presentations. But if only they visited in Manipur, they could see all of these wonderful arts as part of community functioning. Now, and one of the things was that I was inspired to get a bicycle for getting around here in Mundi House after coming back from Manipur, where all the girls were riding bikes, and I did too. One time riding the bicycle, falling in the mud, then going to the jeweler who was making my Ross jewelry was the first time I put on a fennec because his daughter had to give me clothes while my muddy things were washed and drying. Now, I trained in Raj Leela, Katal Cholam. In fact, Oja Tandem Chauba Singh, who taught me Katal Cholam, insisted that I show it to the academy so they could seriously consider adding it to the curriculum for girls. Now, what I'd like to speak a little more on is that I had a very unique and treasured opportunity to imbibe Manipuri dance rituals and traditions under Ranjani Maibi, who was assisted by a young Kumar Maibi and guided by a very young Lahiroba scholar, Oja Achobisana. Now, if any of my explanations about these traditions are inadequate or faulty, please forgive me. With Achobisana, we would go for early morning classes with the Maibis, with the painted players, with all of them. And then we would go to the festivals. We would go to Lahirobas all around the area. And in my second summer, when I went to study again in 76, Ranjani Maibi actually cried with tears in her eyes that someone would come from so far away to care and to want to learn. So few people from outside of Manipur have been able to visit that when I returned after 27 years to perform in a national festival at the Academy, Kumar Maibi heard someone was coming from outside. He said, it must be Sharon. It's 27 years later, but there hadn't been hardly anybody coming that he could even think of. Now, what's important is not just that I was able to be there to learn some of these things. There was an additional chief secretary whose wife was a Canadian anthropologist, and with them I could go to Morong and other areas. But what I'd like to share, which I hope will reach people from outside of Manipur, is a little bit of the story of the Umanglai Lai Haroba. Because the original inhabitants, the original ancestors of Manipur came down from hills. The lake comprising the valley had dried up. And the story is that Parvati sees the beautiful Krishna Leela with Radha and Krishna and Shiva where they could dance. So he put his trishul into the lake, dried it up, and after they danced, that's when the Manipuris from Kubu Hills came down. So that meant that the first Laiharoba, the entertainment of the gods, the ancestors of the Manipuri people, were in the Kobru Hills, and that's where the first Laiharoba was performed. Later, there are generally considered about 365 Umanglai, or these ancestor and other kinds of deities. Some counted as high as 700, and some, depending on how you count it, a lesser number. The days, as you know, are an odd number, 5, 7, 9, or 11. But remembering that these sacred Umanglai, who are still central to the beliefs of Manipur, were the guardian deities of the four hills, Kobru, Tamjing, Marjing, and Wangbarel. These are the pillars of the Laiharoba and the land of Manipur. Thank you. So there are deities. Some of these lies are with the creation myth from the first king, Pakamba, and then these various cabinet members who were the pillars. Did I wear this? No, I don't need that. Yeah. Thank you. Then there's the ancestral deities, clan and domestic deities, even royal family members, and then even some Hindu gods who became known in desanskritized ways. Now, as you know, the Maibis can be men or women, and they're selected by their shamanistic ability. They go into trances, they act as oracles, and they perform all of the rituals. And in these rituals, as I was also trained by Ranjani and Kumar Maibi, you learn from how to dance the creation of the universe, of the human, and of nature. From conception, birth, building a house, weaving cloth, every single thing that's part of life, creating life, and the human reliance, the connection to nature between valley and hills, lake and forest is essential to the traditions, the beliefs, everything that is shared among the people of Manipur. Every single one of the Manipuris here, everybody in Manipur is a dancer. The point that I want to make is that this is a multicultural society. It is multi-religious, where so many traditional religions of the world, the nation, and animistic and tribal religions have worked together. Um, it's a fact that the king, the Raja of Manipur, was both the head of Hindu Vaishnavism and also head of Umangai Lai Haroba. Both of them are equally believed and supported. And I also recall that the great poet, author, choreographer, and artist Padma Shri Maharaj Kumari Binodini had shared with me that her father, the last Raja, when he joined the Indian Union, it was with a firm agreement that the integrity of the state would not be compromised. So, Manipuri has continued for thousands of years to have mutual respect and support. And as I said earlier, I speak only as a performing artist who's been blessed with the opportunity to know a little something of the people and culture of the remarkable state of Manipur. And I feel sure that if more people knew of the depth and richness of the classical and ancient culture, there would be renewed energy to resolve issues peacefully and maintain the unity of the human and nature ecosystem of Manipur. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Sharon Loent. She's a classical musical dancer and an Odyssey dancer. So with this, yeah, she's on the- Marak thana ningsing zabama akoigi volunteer sing na akoigi matai da sai thok tuna lei ba ichi ichi na degi di bung ipa sing bu kano to with tang assist to with na mayai gi phampham lang phampham lang semi ba sida lengsing bi da bak tang ningsing zari akoigi volunteer kangbu sing na mutang assist to biu masi jam tang mateng pang biu ba matai da loina ba sai thok tuna lei ꯑꯗꯨꯗꯨꯅ ꯌꯦꯡꯕꯗꯁꯨ ꯌꯥꯝꯅ ꯐꯖꯗꯕ ꯑꯃ ꯑꯣꯏꯔꯦ ꯍꯣꯏ ꯀꯥꯂꯦꯟꯒꯤ ꯅꯨꯡꯁꯥꯁꯦ ꯌꯥꯝꯅꯕꯨꯗꯤ ꯁꯥꯏ ꯑꯗꯨꯗꯨꯒ ꯋꯥꯁꯨ ꯋꯥꯅꯔꯝꯃꯅꯤ ꯋꯥꯔꯁꯨ ꯋꯥꯅ ꯉꯥꯏꯍꯥꯛꯇꯪ ꯃꯌꯥꯝ ꯑꯃꯨꯛꯇꯪ ꯃꯌꯥꯏꯗ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯐꯝꯅꯕ ꯊꯥꯕꯤꯕꯁꯤꯡ ꯀꯥꯔꯄꯦꯠꯁꯤꯗ ꯆꯪꯁꯤꯟꯖꯔꯤꯗꯨꯅ ꯐꯝꯕꯤꯅꯕ ꯑꯩ ꯑꯃꯇꯪ ꯅꯤꯡꯁꯤꯡꯖꯒꯦ We grew up reciting that India is a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, believing that India is just that they will give us justice and liberty, that the government will protect us. But today, on May 3rd, that trust, that belief was shattered. This is not just a violence, this is a manufacture, but not just a chaos, but a calculated or castrated by the Kuki militant under the Indian government. Why the people of Manipur left defenseless on May 3rd? Today we stand against manufactured violence by the Delhi government for their political gain. This isn't just a failure, but it is a betrayal. We won't forget this day. We won't forget how the Delhi treated us. With this, I would like to call Ozarenku Kumuksam, editor in Fall Times, to give a speech. A round of applause for Ozarenku Kumuksam.
This is a very rare opportunity for me coming here in Delhi the capitals of the nation and speaking about the state of Manipur and staging protests by uh, the people of Manipur staying here. I'm very thankful to the organizer for inviting me here and to share some of my thoughts with what's happening in Manipur and why is it okay happening and how is it being tackled by the government of India. Ladies and gentlemen, Ima Singh, amadi aigi Ahalaman Singh. Now, before I start my speech, I'll say that India has failed Manipur. India has failed Manipur. India has failed Manipur. The Constitution of India is no longer executed in the state of Manipur. People of Manipur has been violated their rights. That isn't guaranteed under the Constitution of India. Imagine the Article 19 of the Constitution. You all are literate people, and you all be knowing that the Article 19 provides the free movement for all people, free speech, free things, everything there. And the Article 14 talks about right to life, 21, and then again Article 26, which talks about freedom to choose any religions, and then Article 29, 30. These are the things that the Constitution has provided. They are free movement. Free movement has been guaranteed under the Constitution of India in all parts of India. But what's happening in Manipur right now? The Bheli people, whom they call as Meitei, the Manipuris Bheli people, whom they call as Meitei, they were, kept stranded, surrounded by Kuki militants, armed Kuki militants. And then the authority don't care. First, when this crisis started on May 3, 2023, there was a popular government, which is also, a BJP-led government, and the center is also having a BJP government there. They told that it's a double-engine government, and no need to fear, no need to fear. The crisis will end soon. They will find a solution. That's what they have been talking about, and it goes on. It continues till February 9, when the then Chief Minister Sri Biren Singh tendered his resignation for reason best known, whether he himself accepted that he cannot rule, he cannot solve the problem, so he tendered his resignation, or he was forced to tender resignation. That was not a matter. Let's let that matter aside. On 13th of February, the President rule came, and then I was the first person, perhaps, from among the newspaper that has been printed and published in full, that praised the President rule, that welcomed the President rule, hoping that it will bring normalcy in the state of Manipur. So when the President rule came, there were many expectations because he seems to the A.K. Bala, Mr. Honorable Governor, he seems to have taken up many things, many initiatives when he first became the governor. When he handled the situation there, governor had president rule a lot of expectation for him because the way he had taken up. He visited Churchampu, visited the meet those Kukizo council, the civil society. The civil society that whom he talked says that they are not in the condition to propose anything to end this violence, but they will follow to what the Sioux cadre, Sioux elements have dictated to them. This was the first one important newspaper. So, and then the so-called representative of the Kukizo people, I'm talking about the 10 MLA who has been demanding separate administration. When called for talk, I was told that they go with the same tune that they will follow to the rules of, to the dictate of the Shu people. Shu people means those under suspension of oppression, Kuki militants. So every single, every organization, Kuki civil society organization, they go in the same word saying that they will follow what the Sioux people have told them to do. That was what. Aduna Kuki militant sing sina haiba Sioux the lady ba Kuki militant sing sina haiba kudimak ilaga chakani na haiba adugumba militant kano sing do adu regadi akoy kanai degi kari khangi hai root cause of this crisis is the Sioux militant sing sina maram oraga phone bane se akoy na khang Aduna Ladybird Sioux militants in abrogation Tawaina Hibasi. We haven't, all the civil society, excluding some frontal of the Kuki so-called militant group, were demanding abrogation of the Sioux. Even the government of Manipur has decided to, abrogate Sioux, and two of the militant groups already has abrogated Sioux. And the State Assembly, they have resolved to recommend the government of India to abrogate Sioux. Nothing has been taken up. It just remains. It continues. One money can continue to today we have completed 2 years. And then IDP sing mapam kudimaka akoigi waraga loina leiba lambi soroka thoga pochai akoigi yol kanda moina sajabado adu leibagi phibam su mayam ama leiyaba ko ego terrorism se loina mak akoina condemn tawi I appreciate our Prime Minister Narendra Modi when he said that we will finish up all terrorists and their backup when Pahalgam terror attack happened on 22 April. So when 6 people, including 3 women and 3 minors, including a 8-month-old infant, were kidnapped and slaughtered, murdered, no words comes from the center, no words come from the PF, Prime Minister, no condemnation comes from any of the leadership of the Indian government. The act of terrorism committed at Jiribam on November 2024, killing 6 children, 6 people, including 3 women and 3 children, is the most heinous crime and most bloodiest act of terrorism. So my question here comes here. Is the government of India distinguish terrorists into 2 groups? Is there a good terrorist or bad terrorist there? Is the Indian government consider the terrorists in Manipur as a good terrorist? And then is the terrorists when they consider here the terrorists that attack, kill civilians in Pahalgam as good terrorists? Then what is the use? What is the use of being in citizen of India living merging to the Indian Union? Indian Union da akoina yauraga leirubasi masigi kanabasi kari oidorinoba kariginobada makoina afaba terrorist amadi fattaba terrorist haina ani khaidonga thambagi mawongda sugi elements in Kuki singida leiriba terror act toriba angang haliba, and then tidai leiriba security Indian security force the photo the militant killed them are not their terrorists, and nothing has been taken up against their Kuki terrorists. But why? Karigi damakta no ba makui na terrorist ki posse akoina adam sabda thamaga so na thambagi mo ngama leiri se ani thokna khaido isina takpadi kaino si Manipur si India ki yamna manung haksin ba state amane na moina lowribra haido deba. Manipur is being treated as kari hai tare state akogi moigi protection ki damakta natragana some akogi namdaraga thambiba state motherly treatment amada thambiba state amani ana adumaina lobada akogi akaiba ama leiraktre adu akoina khangada amana India government ki attitude sida Manipur de yengi ba biyang se masidai sida crisis solution ke Manipur ki crisis solution ke hai bagi keno ama bawa ude FCD March 1 da Home Minister na review meeting loraga magi order da March 8 tagi pre movement thamgani haraga adu ki pot to fail hen ki ba madu fail ba ki maram da kari gino hai matam da factor mayam amasu adum lai re pai ba Moina hana intelligence input lau daba adu bagi factor mayam tu dagi lai ribe India government ki keno sida apogi moina sam apogi ngatan harawan na bagi mo ngama kakta chathaba man ba pot ama chatharak badune ba lai se aduga aina 65 ki matang sida haininga ko pot mayam ama lai India na Manipur phanayam na thugai bo honaragasu they will never succeed when Telangana na koi ki keno dagi Hyderabad ki chat kiu matam tu di makoi na chat kiu do adu moi ki keno ama ka purpose ama yaw ka historical fact me ama yaw ka chat ni ba adu ka India ki mapan dagi India ki state ama same tong na ki damakta kulai paira ka lan hon bai arba India sibo what kind of government is this are they sponsoring terrorism in the state of Manipur are they harboring terrorism in the state of Manipur what is the reason behind that and why they are supporting that? Aduga aina masima sumayam da hajiram ke masiki pots sumayam kambi gadam. I had an interaction with the IGAR South in Imphal. And then when I asked that the suspension of operation has been just last year in 28 February, why they are not being arrested by the security forces? Manakari Hari Kambra. Suspension of operation say it's an instrument to bring peace. Say, all right, I know suspension of operation is an instrument to bring peace. But what I'm asking is it still existing or is it still going on? Unless and until there is a directive from the union government, we cannot say that it is abrogated. I mean, the happening with its suspension of operation. Suddenly, I have said, let me idea short key. Can do not be you do not find money of it. I don't think Karino, but Satanic is from the Akwegi interlocutor or Beniba, Eke Mistrana, Akwegi cannot sing the Akwegi lady bar, civil society organization that review the Gedi Passing is a part of one of the Highway. Other point number like recall, Minamadi Poinama. Aduga Amana, Governor of Manipur, Topo or Ramada, illegal weapon. Illegal and looted weapons should be surrendered within 7 days. Have never. Although many surrendered the weapon, we will not surrender the weapon and 100%. Those ITLFK or Ladiba, the cookies or council or Makui since surrender to Pada, nothing happened. No action has been taken. Manipur coming or Impal Manung coming Aduga Swida home na quite polite Piccolo I have a single matadi. Kariguma action namata lokatana late here. Azuna Taurebo Mong Sixida suspension of operation in Hariba Kangu say they never fire even a single gunshot to the security forces of India. All right, good. But Moida suspension of operation to Wumatamda, Moida lady but Kulai say how many weapons are they having? Suspension of operation to give them a time to the when a fire of Kulai say, Adudi Matik Yagre, total arms say, Hoigi lady say, UPF the total arms say, Hoigi, Chahunga Kunga, money, ammunition Sandre, Aduga Chaniga Kunga Taruk Amana, Kenogi Kangusiga. More signature sign to make you matam to the 5 billion line. Those are American made, the gay kind of Chinese made, flying on the sophisticated weapon. sophisticated weapon me amo five do visit moida leramba masing do dagi visit double the time single le say khamni bane aduga sophisticated weapon sing do su de yane na boy tamis thamaga su tong na ga su madugi khulai sing do legal weapon la duga legitimize kamina tawri do hai say india government ai na usi question tong ni ba I want to ask to the government of India how the sophisticated weapon owned by procured by this armed cookie militant are legitimized. Why are they allowed to keep these people with them? Is it to kill the Meitei people, or may not only Meitei, all the Manipuri people, including all those communities, ethnic communities? Is there an agenda of that? The so-called proxy were often mentioned by the civil society leaders of Manipur. Is it true? Are we going to say that? Are we going to assume that it's really a proxy war against the Meitei people and the other ethnic Manipuri people who have been living together for thousands and thousands of years and who got independent from the British as a princely state and then later merged to the Indian Union with an agreement. Don't forget about this. With an agreement. If there is an agreement, there is also international law that protects the state of Manipur. Manipur was merged with 8,000 square miles to the Union of India. And then those states, which was merged to the Union of India with a boundary, territorial boundary, is protected under the UTI Pusiditas jury of the international law. This should also be noted, and scholar here sitting in front of me, scholar here studying in university and doing, some may be doing lower degree, they should go more on this to, fight if any case happen in the state of Manipur. We should not let it go free. We should use all legal weapon. All legal weapon, when I say legal weapon, it's not about guns or bayonets or anything. I'm talking about the proper channel. Where should we go? To the Supreme Court, to the International Court, ICC, so and so. These are the forums that we can go in a peaceful manner and we can fight any attempt to distort the state of Manipur. For that, our intellectuals, our brothers and sisters who are doing in the universities, who are doing PhD, they should go more on this. There are some ground rules in the SHU. When they signed it in 2008, August, there are some ground and then extended on 2011. There are provisions in the ground rule that they will not recruit any new cadres. Recently, 4 cadres were arrested. 4 cadres belonging to the KNF were arrested from Kangpopi area. Their age were nearly 20s. They were all teen. So when they signed the agreement and when they extended the suspension of operation agreement, there was provision that no recruitment will be taken up, no arms will be procured, nothing extortion and so, nothing will be done. These are the provisions written in the ground rules. But four person who is less than 20 years were arrested as a KNF cadre. Then how could we say that they do not violate the ground rules provided in the SHU agreement? 2011, imagine 2015. Then at the time of signing the agreement, they might have been at least 2-3 years old, or some might not have been born. And when now they are recruiting these people. So recruiting people is a direct violation of the ground rule of association of a person. And extortion. They have signed that we will not extort money from anybody. We will not threaten anybody for money. These are the things that they agreed. And then in the highway, what happened? Everybody know how many rupees they are, how many, they have been collecting tax, illegal tax from the truckers, all those traveling along the highways. These are real facts. And then when this happened, why the suspension of operations should continue and why should not it be abrogated at this time to bring peace in the state of Manipur? The root should be, plucked out. The root of this crisis should be, the root. Sige, root or iba suse. Ako na, puktok ka na ba? Ado puktok na sum tamdar ka ni crisis sum continue tawul lerani. Ado na tako ni Manipur se macet gaya na bagi plan ama agenda ama lay para. Hay bagi post ama ako dili because of some bagi o manung yung plan rambay ay. Ado na maram waraga makoy na Manipur tugara ka di. Don't even expect that the people of Manipur will remain silent. There will be another, big uprising. Whether we may have guns or not, we still have our courage, and we still have our courage for Mother Manipur, and we will spare anybody who comes after us. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ozarengu, for such a powerful speech. Yes, democracy is a joke in Manipur. When it is not a democracy when we are kids in our own land. So, having said that, I would like to call upon next speaker, Oda Elizabeth Kumalambam. She is a social activist. A big round of applause for Oda Elizabeth.
Good evening. Namaste. Mayambu Kurunzari. Matamase Tengzalakpa Oina. I can Taknoina Tumzage. And I like to thank all our Irachas for giving me the opportunity to share a few things. Masigi Akoigi, what we are saying today, asking the government of India not to divide Manipur. Why that this kind of a sentence has to come today at Jantar Mantar after 2 years of mayhem that has been seen on May 3, 2023. What things could have controlled in the early part of the conflict, it hasn't been done. It was lack of coordination. It was something beyond the control at that time. Or was it part of something? After 2 years of analysis, the people are asking today. Different reports, different things are coming up. But today, representing women also, as Amritai women also, where we have bear lots of burdens. The 7 years dissertation after the kings of Myanmar, they defeated the kings of Manipur. What is hardship the people of Manipur have known? But when there is a saying that the righteous, they may fall 7 times, but they rise up 7 times. This is something that we need to remember. People have been killed. Women have been killed. Their houses burned. They have been displaced. But still people are asking, we do not like this kind of structure or system in our state. What is happening to the women in the relief camp? Why are not the issues of displaced people not taken seriously? Will they be taken as always as yes, it's a theory of war and conflict. Some people will be killed, some people dead, some people displaced. But when on the other side we are talking about human rights, human development. What is happening to the human development in the state of Manipur since the last 2 years? Today, are we commemorating, or are we pleading, or are we asking normalcy to return back? If there is a will, there is a will. अगर कुछ सही कदम उठाना चाहते हैं तो कदम भी उठा सकती है. तो ये बात है See why, when the common people are asking for clarion call, what has been muddied, what has been dirted in the socio-political structure of Manipur, why not the government is not taken up? It is not about shaking the responsibility. Earlier, when the elected government was there, the leader of the elected government was blamed for all the mishandling things. But there were a lot of miscommunications, or there were a lot of gaps that we have seen within this. Rule is direct there. The guns and bombs that have been pelted has stopped. It is like the direction of the wind of the violence has been stopped for some time. But mere absence of violence, anything can happen. Just as an ignition point, things are not should not be kept like this for long. It harms the psychology of the people. It creates a divide. First of all, what the people want, the free movement of the people within the state to take out the buffer zone, and the word used by the government itself of buffer zone should not be used at all. This is a wrong concept used within the state. For what reason? Many have always said that why this has been used. And regarding that, if geopolitics is the real problem, if the people who are armed, who have an understanding under the terminology of the Sioux is the problem, please solve it. What is the plan of the government? Because we have a long history of insurgency in the state of Manipur. In order to control insurgency, please do not use one community against the other. Because this is going to create division. This is like during the British Raj divide and rule. The British Raj has gone, but the legacy of British Raj should not be let survive in the state of Manipur. Aduna, what we wanted to say is that, and today, as we all have been asking, some voices have been silenced. The silence of innocent women and children killed, especially the Jiribam killings. Who is going to give them justice? They're almost an entire family, the 8-month-old baby, the 8-year-old girl. During the Pahalgam killings, the terrorists coming from Pakistan, as it has been reported, they were not killing the women and the children, they were killing the men. But in Manipur, women and children are being killed. And the response that we have seen in the Pahalgam killings and the Jiribam killings is very, very pathetic. Don't look biased. A leader who looks or acts biased, people lost their faith and trust. So I request the government of India not to be like that, and please try to solve ways for solution and not to heed to those who wanted to divide Manipur or who wanted to create division among the Manipuris. Because 34 communities live together. The divide due to ethnicity in the 1960s in the formation of different states has created a problem. And this is going to create problem, has been predicted by different political scientists of the 1960s. And what we are seeing in 2023 is exactly that is happening. So stop the mistake. Don't divide Manipur. Don't create division. Take out the buffer zone. Whatever element that is creating problem, try to solve it within your own structure. Your arms are long. If you want to solve it, you can solve it. This is what I wanted to give on behalf of the Meitei and especially the women of Manipur, because we are suffering a lot. Thank you.
Thank you, Oza Elizabeth, for such a very powerful space. Mathang na koksari thongam dhara convener thawai miren.
mayam punamak kai kun gusare masigi asigum laba pangthok ni bune pham masigi mari le na wafun se hui yam tha machukna naina ga so lui lo da ba wafam oi adu bo egi matung da so pegi kai kun nasara ba pegi our honorable member of parliament we Ozabi Mall, Visual Nina, in the language of singing my kid again, wonder minute Manga Kaki Matam be a Dubai minute, Manga Panamatam Lugaroi, Yam Piano from Katang, a Masit in Viva, the little Viva Alaman Imaibel, Moro Pang, should now we should say, quite Kibika Punda, quite Punda, quite Bharatke, Honorable Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi Ji, Mapanga. Akwai Manipuri kuding na punna lawmin na bayaba apam makatang ay miyang ko punna lawmin na bagi torang tuk jage akwai yam na sang na Sri Honorable Prime Minister of India Sri Narendra Modi ji ge magi punging iwa man ki baat we the Manipuri have been hearing the man ki baat of our Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi ji for a many years. Akwai na Manipuri sing na Manipur Bharat ki Pradhan Mantri Sri Narendra Modi ji ki punging iwa man ki baat akwai matam sang na Manipuri sing na ngasi phau bata do lai adubo ngasi Bharat ki Honorable Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi ji na Manipuri singing man ki baat tabi rabra tabi dibra mayam isagi thamoi da hangbiyo adu iba targeti akwai punna we the Manipuri the citizen of India humble request to the honorable our Prime Minister we the Manipuri have the honor to request you to kindly hear the man ki baat of Manipuri. Hagiti Manipuri singi thamoi warol Manipuri singi punging wa tabi tam yore Sri Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji na aduna lagliba mafam simata to Delhi da lebidi ba organization sing senbi lagbiyo lagliba megi aroiba nawajing nemeki man ki baat kai Manipuri da atauba miyam hubna Honorable Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi ji ki All India Radio da ha kudingi aroiba nawajing nemita sandokpa ayu ki pung tarama thaida sandokpa man ki baat Manipuri sing na sang na tado lagaso lagliba megi aroiba nawajing nemita Manipur te miyam hubna boycott tongan bage koi punumak thorang bal besare Maramusina Delhi da lebidi ba Jantar Mantar Hariba Nasigi Mafam Asimakada Prithivi Sin Batungna Prithivi ki leba kudrat ki mamanga Bharat ki Pradhan Mantri Narendra Modi ki punging ki whole Manipuri sing na boycott taure haibo afam se lagliba megi aruba nawajing vecha Prithivi pum bakhangal lechi haibo afam se samjarga punumakta ki tension jari thank you.
Now the time has come for all we have awaited, a voice that refuses to be silent, a roar that shook Parliament. Dr. Akoizam Bimol, Member of Parliament, Manipur, Ozabu Akoigi Laiki Drabasingi, Photo the Likat Amatang Tambina Banisingzari. Also, Ozat has wrote a book on and published a book on Manipur, on national media, and Manipur may have the fourth stage as a site of information war. We all believe that media is the fourth pillar of the democracy. However, in Manipur mayhem, the very media has developed a false narration to align their agenda. They have portrayed Meitei as a violent where they portray Cookie as a minorities, where they have portrayed Metis as a brutal killer. So on that regard, Dr. Bimol Akoizam or the Bimol Akoizam has wrote this book, National Media and Manipur Mayhem, the fourth state as a site of information war. Hazek Maduga Loina Loina Kokachari Ozabu, Face Matata, Wahi Amani Katang Tambinaba.
ꯑꯍꯥꯟꯕ ꯃꯛꯇꯗ ꯇꯤꯟꯕꯤꯔꯤꯕ ꯏꯆꯥꯄꯨꯔꯨꯝ ꯑꯄꯨ ꯏꯀꯣꯛꯃꯅꯤ ꯈꯨꯔꯨꯝꯖꯔꯤ. And greetings to friends who have gathered here to mark a day which we all wish had not happened in the history of our state, if not this country. Last time I spoke on this spot in a meeting, I think organized by the MCC, I thought, let this be the last meeting for all of us. But I think those forces which have tried to destroy our state and their collaborators have been scheming things which forced us to have this meeting again today. And I'd like to put today for a couple of things for all of us to reflect, irrespective of the communities, irrespective of whether you're from Manipur or outside. First of all, what we need to understand is the issue that we face today should not be seen in terms of a communal lens. It must be understood for what it is. It is politics. It is a political contestation, and we must fight it politically. I have said this in the first meeting that I've attended here. And I said, do not blame the entire community, for instance, the cookies, but blame their elites and their divisive politics. This is a lesson that I've learned, and we all should learn from Mahatma Gandhi, who once said, our struggle is against the British rule over us, not against the British people. So our struggle is not against the cookies as a community. Or for that matter, for the cookies, if they have grievances, this is not a fight against the Métis, but against certain kind of politics that they may not like it. We must position the crisis that we have in terms of politics. So what is this politics that we face today? And I was told that today also, the same politics marked today as Separation Day. There's a clear message that they want to break up Manipur. And this politics wants to break Manipur on the basis of what? On the basis of communal identities. And this country must remember one thing. In 1940, and before that, Savarkar preached the two-nation theory, which was repeated by Muhammad Ali Jinnah in his speech in Lahore in 1940, that the Hindus and Muslims cannot live together. And they must have two different destinies and therefore two different forms of political organization, Pakistan and India. And those politics and those people who are following that politics of Separation Day today and who wants to break Manipur is speaking the same language. We should not forget that. In Pahalgam incident, what we have seen is that the nation is gearing up to face this problem. Our Union Home Minister said that our issues implicate external forces. Goose beti bolte the wo. and they ought to respond in a similar fashion. Pakistani General Asim Munir said that the Hindus and Muslims cannot live together. The same two-nation theory after Pahalgam incident. And that we still continue to hear in this country, that some people say that Kukis and Meiteis cannot live together. This is the same language as those people who think that the Muslims and Hindus cannot live together. If you condemn this kind of a communal projects and Pakistani's ploy of dividing the country, the same people must also fight against those people who say that Kukis and Meiteis cannot live together. You cannot have two parameters. If you think that the Pakistanis have come in to disturb the Hindu-Muslim relation in this country, and the same preaching that the Jinnah had done is continued even today, and they are trying to provoke by asking people's religion and killing, Manipur is facing a similar kind of a thing. Those people who say that the Kukis and Meiteis cannot live together, they are speaking the same language as the Pakistanis are speaking, and for that matter, what Jinnah had spoken, they are speaking the same language. This is nonsense. As long as you stay as a citizens of this country, you are bound to work together in military organization, in academic institution, in business institutions, in parliament, in assemblies. You are bound to live together and work together. If a professor is teaching a Meitei in a university, does it mean that in that university, no Kukis cannot teach? If a Kuki doctor is working in a hospital, does it mean that he is not going to take care of a Meitei patient? That nonsense must stop. That Meiteis and the Kuki cannot live together, and on the basis of your speaking like the Pakistanis to destroy Manipur, and this country cannot watch it silently. So this is the politics that we must confront and call them out. It's nothing but communal project. The idea of Manipur is not rested on an ethnic identity, where multiple communities. We often say Manipur is a miniature India. And the rest of the country must know that. Especially those people who have been trapped in an ideological prescriptions in the name of minority, in the name of tribals, in the name of Christianity and so on. You must stand up. That's the first thing that we must understand. Manipur is under threat from communal politics, which speaks the language of those people who have divided India and those people who are seeking to divide with this kind of a violent actions in Kashmir. Remember, the demand for a separate state or a Kuki Lane or a Jalingam is nothing new. It's not a product of what happened on 3rd of May 2023. In fact, I have said this before and I am repeating it today. Muslim League under Jinnah had propounded the idea of Pakistan and India in his Lahore speech in 1940. And they tried to implement it by deciding on a date to take some action. And that action is called Direct Action Day, 16th of August 1946. Muslim League had demanded that there must be a homeland for the Muslim, and we demand this. And for that, they call out what is called Direct Action Day, 16th August 1946. And I must dare say this, those communal forces from whichever side have collaborated to implement a Direct Action Day on 3rd of May 2023 to demand a separate homeland based on communal ideologies. So the 3rd of May, remember that, this is exactly the same as the 16th of August 1946. Demand for a separate administration, separate state based on communal identities, just as Muslim League has done it. Remember, 16th of August 1946, the Direct Action Day, spark of a violence started in Kolkata, and within 3 days, 10,000 people died in communal mayhem in Kolkata and its surrounding area. And that is what we witnessed on 3rd of May 2023. any Indians who were offended by General Munshir's statement about Hindus and Muslims not living together, which is rightly condemned by my colleague Shashi Tharoor recently in his press interview, must also condemn those people who are saying that Meiteis and the Kuki cannot live together and therefore we need a separate state for the Kukis and separate state for the Meiteis. This is nothing but Pakistani ideology operating within India. And no Indian should support this kind of an ideology, this kind of a politics. That's a very clear-cut position. This should not be translated as a hatred for a community. As I repeated, this is a political fight, and we must do this. Second, peace and normalcy cannot return as long as you have internally displaced persons, be that a Kuki or a Meitei. I'm repeating this. Whenever I said this, this communal forces says that you're not talking about Kukis. When I said 60,000, 70,000, their brain must work. That's 60 to 70,000 includes Kukis. And I dare say this again, if some of you have noticed me, when I listen to women from Churachandpur who are crying and asking me questions, I said that day, this is just after the violence, 2023, I said, your pain must have also been felt by members of the other communities. You do not forget that. And this is a Meitei, then intellectual. Today as a politician, I'm saying it's a Meitei politician saying that the pain that we go through must have been gone through by the Kukis. I dare one Kuki politician and come up and say the same thing. And while I was campaigning for my election, this is on video recording, there was a Mar lady who was killed in Jiribam. It was quickly followed by another Meitei lady who was killed while she was working in the field. Right in the heart of Imphal in Singtamai, while addressing the public meeting, I requested the gathering, which is Meitei community. I said, please stand up. Let's stand in silence in memory of these two women. I dare say again, any of these Kuki politicians stand up like that and say the same thing in Churachandpur or in More. Who is communal and who is not communal, it must be very clear. Our imagination of the idea of Manipur is inclusive. And some are following this dubious character of a communal politics, and in some of the rest of the country through misinformation and disinformation campaign, you are painting one community as a victim and one community as a perpetrator. You are wrong. See the videos. Women crying out. Women crying from Churachandpur on third evening. The houses burned down in More and houses burned down in Churachandpur. That was third. What happened in Torbung Bangla and Torbung area was started around 3:30 and 3 in the afternoon. That is spread in the rest of the places in our state, including Imphal, by the evening on 3rd. Ye violence kahan shuru kiya? Please investigate. You cannot have justice. You cannot have peace without justice. Justice demand either it is Kukis or a Meiteis. And a one-sided political propaganda of justice for the Kukis and painting one community as a villain, you are wrong. You must track down where the violence started. Who were responsible? Fix that, including who play around with that fire in that gate. What do you call it, Kuki? War Memorial Gate? Who did that firing? Please investigate. Take responsibility. And I must also tell you, does it constitute an excuse to have an en masse attack on civilians in Torbung areas because of what had happened in that gate? Does it justify? Will you justify the killing of that 8-month-old kid and women under captivity, like the Terrorist Act. When we condemn, I condemn it. I wrote a piece in the national media when those two unfortunate Kuki women were paraded naked. I remember many Meiteis condemned that. I have condemned that on social media, and I have written that also in the national media. I dare say, bring out the Kuki intellectual, bring out a Kuki politician who condemn those killing in Jiribam. That is the politics. Do not play victims. Everybody suffers. Your ideology cannot be entertained in this country. If you have genuine grievances, we must find it out. If this violence has been initiated by others, let the Azai Lamba Commission of Inquiry come up. When it was constituted on the 4th of June 2023, it keeps on extending. You must not forget that the last extension is this 25th of May this year. Bring out the report. Fix who is responsible for this violence. Justice must be done to those victims, innocent civilians, be that Kukis or the Meiteis. I want the Kuki intellectuals and the Kuki politicians to speak the same language. Let the world know we have suffered enough. Lastly, but not the least, the government of India is reducing this violence into something like a Kuki Meitei problem. Track down. Initially, they said, you talk among yourselves. That's the advice given by the government of India to civil society group. Today, they are arranging the meeting. Why they did not arrange this meeting before? And I have said this right from June, July 2023, the government of India is complicit in this problem. I do not want to mention things. The conversation I had with the officials, the gut feeling I had is that they are not interested in solving this problem. That was in 2023. I requested some, please start a second track dialogue among the civilian groups, just as you try to rein in this violence, use all the state machineries. People roaming around with guns is challenging the Indian state, be that in the valley or in the hills. You must rein in this violence and start the second channel dialogue. That time, somebody told me that it is not the government of India's job. And today they're doing the job. Why? Article 19, freedom of movement. It's not a Kuki Meitei problem. This is a problem of constitutional order. This is an issue of governance. The government must ensure that these displaced people, be that Kuki or the Meiteis, they must go back to their original place. The government must ensure that. And these highways, remember that freedom of movement is linked to right to freedom, because your livelihood gets affected. It is a Supreme Court judgment. So Article 19 is related to Article 21. Since the right to life is affected, it's the responsibility of the Indian state to ensure that the citizens of that state of Manipur, be that Kuki or the Meiteis, must have this freedom of movement. And they are turning it into a Meitei Kuki problem. That's a problem of constitutional order and the capacity for the Indian state to enforce that constitution. Otherwise, you are almost kicking and spitting at the Indian constitution in the state of Manipur. That is something that we must keep in mind. I want to conclude with one information. I've said, when you rein in this violence, do it judiciously. It's already a vitiated atmosphere. Do not make it as if you are targeting one community and not the other. And unfortunately, the way the government is doing so far gives that impression that you are only targeting one community, not the other. This is to breed the suspicions and destroy the possibility of a peace and normalcy in the state. This should not be done. We need information, And rest of us also ask questions. Lot of politicking is done, particularly this BJP people. They don't realize what is non-partisan politics. Ask them, give them dictionary. Let them read. What is non-partisan politics? When you face an issue of a national kind, then beyond party lines, you sit down together and say, let's work together. That's what Ibobi had done in 2001, 2004, whether it is the delimitation, he always called for an all-party delegation and a meeting and go to Delhi. That's the time for us to have a non-partisan politics. These people have not done that. Why? Ask yourself. Whose interest is get implicated in this crisis? Longer the crisis, do not communalize all the time. There are big time players involved in sustaining this problem. Do not be blinded by this kind of a communal ideological campaign. That's why I said it is a political fight. We need to do this together. 2 years is a long time. Nothing in this country has seen this kind of a problem. And we need to see this. And I wish again, and I pray, we do not have a third anniversary of this problem next year. The problem should be resolved before that. That is the responsibility of every Manipuris and every citizen of this country. Do not watch the problem of Manipur as if you are watching like a European watching Rwandan crisis out there. Just as you respond to Kashmir as if it is part of your heart, you should respond to Manipur as it is part of your heart. This is a national issue. That must not be forgotten. Nobody is gaining here. People from Churachandpur flying off Aizawl airport where they could have traveled for 50 kilometers to Imphal airport, they're traveling for 300 plus. And many people who can't afford, they're flying to Guwahati from Imphal by air. And look at this also. In the name of market logic, people are sucking the blood of people. Then look at the ticket prices. And I am still looking at it when they have this special arrangement of flights to Ayodhya during this Rama Mandir issue. I wanted to see what is the price. Does it go according to demand and supply logic, or did it have a concession or not? Check these things. The moment we open our eyes, and we'll be better off. And I want to end this question. Just as we try to disarm, it should be done judiciously. It should not be seen as a bias. We still don't know whether the SU is still in operation. Do not ask about Congress ne kiya, BJP ne kiya. You need to ask the right kind of question. I asked in the parliament about this, they throw away the question, saying that it's a national security. Abhi we don't know whether SU is there or not. We need to ask a lot of questions. If the state government is not involved in an agreement that is existing, they should come it out. And we must ask, an state issue related में state government के बिना कैसे आपने agreement कर दिया? If not, then you must crack down. If you have an agreement, then you must also see whether your code of conduct is still followed or not. These are basic questions that we must. We are finished it up. खत्म करें 2 मिनट में बैठ. सिर्फ 2 मिनट दीजिए. So what I am saying is, any kind of grievances can be resolved through dialogue and conversations, and put it on the floor, and we need to have this conversation to resolve the issues. Do not blackmail, do not preach communal ideologies which threatens our state. And we stand up together and fight till we win and create a new Manipur out of this crisis. Thank you all.
Thank you, Oza, for such a powerful speech. That was not just a speech, but every story is a mother waiting for justice. You're demanding for dignity. With this, I would like to call upon Dr. Sir Agnitos Chios. He is an author and a social activist.
It's going to be very difficult to speak after the Honorable Member of Parliament, and it's a huge responsibility that you put on my shoulders. I will try to wrap up fast. मेरी एक पहले दरखास्त दिल्ली पुलिस से है. ये बहुत ही गंभीर मुद्दा है. जितेंद्र से मेरी दरखास्त है 5-10 मिनट का समय दीजिए. बहुत गंभीर मुद्दा है. 5 मिनट में बात खत्म करेंगे और कंक्लूड करेंगे. I think you wanted to give me some scarf and I wanted to demonstrate something that how we can all coexist. So whoever is, yes, please, thank you. So to demonstrate that coexistence is possible, I want to first tell you that on this very stage in the morning, the Kuki community held their gathering. So if that's possible to do on the same stage, coexistence in the same state is also possible. To demonstrate it further, I want to put on a bag which was given to me by the Kuki community back in 2024 and show you that the Meitei scarf and the Kuki bag, everything can coexist if you have the heart and the desire. The Honorable Member of Parliament spoke about that this is unprecedented. Yes, it is unprecedented and we need to take unprecedented steps, and I'll quickly come to them. But before that, I have 2 suggestions. We need to speak about truth, and for that, what we propose to do is have a Truth and Reconciliation Commission with parties from both sides coming and sharing facts as they are, instead of misinformation being floated, which is the root cause, which is being used by the politicians who only believe in Rajniti. Rajniti is the niti to rule, not govern. So we have to ensure that this is a politics of governance, of harmony, of peace. In my last speech here, I had proposed that we send 1,000 trees from the Meitei community to the Kuki community. So on that endeavor, today I am pledging that the first sapling I will donate to you for sending to the community of the Kuki people, and the rest 999 DMCC and other people put together. Can we take a pledge together today that we will send fruit-bearing saplings so that we can shift from hatred to peace and from drugs to trees? Can we all take a pledge on that? Yes. Thank you very much. Now, this problem is also partly not only because the government facilitated an arms handover and this massacre, it is also because almost all constitutional institutions failed. Rectified, and that's why I am calling for a march in May. The march to the Supreme Court on the 9th of May at 11 a.m. Let the whole country come together and demand that the Supreme Court works as per its duties, responsibilities, and mandate, and not for as its whims and fancies. Will you all join on the 9th of May at 11 a.m. at the Supreme Court? I don't hear a resounding yes. Honorable Member of Parliament, I have a very special request for you. Honorable Member of Parliament, 2 days ago, I have moved Honorable Member of Parliament, this is my specific request for you. I want your attention for just a minute. This entire issue is also because the President of India failed to act in time. We have let 270 people die but we are ready to go to war for 26 people who have died in Kashmir. This is the state of this country. So, Honorable Member of Parliament, my request to you, amongst other members of Parliament, is that I have moved the representation for the impeachment of the President of India on the grounds of her laxity for Manipur issue, which has led to a total collapse of national security, something which even Pakistan and China have not been able to do. And that's why she deserves to be impeached. And this impeachment can only happen through the parliament. So I hand over the reins for this cause to the member of parliament to take this up in the parliament. And my last concluding thought, today I also held a small protest gathering and I am going to submit a memorandum. This memorandum is related to my last speech here, which was about that Narendra Modi, Amit Shah, Ajit Doval, Ajay Bhalla, all of these people deserve to be in Tihar jail. Today I am moving a memorandum to General Upendra Dwivedi, the Chief of Army Staff, for the arrest of Narendra Modi, Amit Shah, Ajit Doval, Ajay Bhalla, and everyone else responsible. And this arrest should happen by the 10th of May, not the 10th of May 2026, by the 10th of May 2025. And if they don't do it, we will all gather outside at Kartavya Path on the 10th of May evening and ensure that this work is done, because this is what the law of the land is and it applies to everyone equally. Thank you.
Thank you, Agnico, sir. Next, I would like to call Dr. Sharam Roses, convener DNCC, to conclude the event.
Ma'am, we are about to end this program. Aduna sige mamang sila first program tan nominasi amtang sanction gino adu like promaga. Akoi ye lo win hoga. Masi akoi ye faraba ang pukan sila akoi punani base. Masi we will do just one prayer, 1 minute prayer, and then we will end our program today. Everyone, please come closer. Amtang gino adu akoi we are just ending this program in 2 minutes. And we will also raise some slogans for all of us. Aduga mayam ako'y resolve to minagato say we need to resolve today. Then ako'y as the convener of Delimited Coordinating Committee and on behalf of Delimited Manipur Student Association Delhi, Unicast, and also Mayol the Maikay Tagi Mayam Muthakat Aduga Maikay Alliance ki world level mayam singi atoko support ko na ako in the sige program se tong jabani Mumbai dagi Norway dagi US dagi Australia dagi all the Maikay have supported for this program. So if we are united, we can stand together. So today we stand for Manipur and multicultural society. So we Himalaya Manipur Manipur will go IDP return to their home, we will fight. Makoy na sabti baba, ako'y nungti kung alini magampisya ako'y na laying itabaw. Masima yabra, as a result today, that we will give every 2 hours every day till the IDPs go to their original home. We will fight in Delhi also. Yes. Kasi yung asang minisigaw. Aduga amana, till the IDP has get enough resources. Ako'y income dagi 1% kung ako'y correct ako yun, hindi na kung kapag-kapag. Are we ready to donate 1% of our income for the defense of the community of the Maitri, of the defense, development and community service? 1% of our income will be donated for the defense
India. So today we are reaffirming that we will contribute, and we will do just actually our service to the community. But ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯊꯋꯥꯏꯅ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏ ꯃꯤꯅꯤꯠ ꯑꯃꯈꯛꯇ ꯇꯨꯃꯤꯟꯅ ꯂꯦꯞꯄꯒ ꯃꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯊꯋꯥꯏꯅ Thank you. ꯑꯗꯨꯒ ꯑꯪꯀꯜ ꯑꯃꯔꯖꯤꯠ ꯄꯥꯎꯜꯒꯤꯗꯃꯛꯇ ꯈꯨꯕꯥꯛ ꯑꯝꯇ ꯈꯨꯕꯤꯌꯨ ꯃꯇꯝ ꯂꯩꯇꯕꯗꯒꯤ ꯀꯩꯅꯣ ꯇꯧꯕꯗꯒꯤ ꯑꯗꯣ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏ ꯒ꯭ꯔꯨꯞ ꯐꯣꯇꯣ ꯑꯝꯇ ꯀꯥꯃꯤꯟꯅꯔꯁꯤ and then we will wind up. ꯅꯨꯄꯤꯁꯤꯡꯅ ꯃꯃꯥꯡꯗ ꯐꯝꯕꯤꯔꯣ ꯑꯗꯨꯒ ꯄꯨꯂꯞ ꯄꯨꯂꯞ ꯐꯣꯇꯣ ꯑꯝꯇ ꯀꯥꯃꯤꯟꯅꯁꯤ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏ ꯃꯅꯤꯡꯗ ꯑꯗꯨꯝ ꯆꯠꯄꯤꯔꯛꯑꯒ yes we'll have one photograph to wind up. So thank you so much. The Delhi police are actually helping us.